Exactly.
The
important topics getting discussed here. Which Transformers are good?
And which bathrooms are the best and which are the worst.
That's right. Don't go to Macy's. That's all I'm saying. Macy's is bad.
Actually, one of the nice things about going to see the Transformers things is not many people.
What we need to survive. Please
do.
Everybody send your water.
Keep it coming.
I'm going to send you some bottled water maybe sometime. That's
everybody
That's a great gift for someone in Arizona.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
More water, please.
All right, here we go. I'm going to count it down, and we're off in 3, 2, 1. Car. Hey everybody, welcome to Core. This is the video game show that plays now and asks questions later. And speaking of later on, starting a little giveaway for 5 sets of these keyboard sketch art replacement key things from gloriousgaming.com. You can go check them out. Bo's holding a box of them right now in his hands. I have some on my keys sitting right over here. My WASD has never looked so cool. Yours could too. And we're giving away 5 sets this week and 5 sets next week. So I'll just give you a little hint. In the Discord, we have a giveaways channel. There's a 24-hour contest happening right now. You can go submit, get in there. So if you're here live, go do that. Everybody at home, there'll be time for you as well once you get the podcast. So get in. We'll give away 5 next week and then start another giveaway. Look at Bo holding these up. He's like the perfect.
I'm the Vanna White.
I like it. Turn the letters. Yeah, look at you turning letters like Vanna White. You're not as hot as she is. I'm just going to put it out there.
You know what? That's fine.
You okay with that?
Hot, so yeah, no,
He's definitely more white than Vanna.
It's true.
Oh, that's hard. She's actually pretty white. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know. You know when the last time I saw Wheel of Fortune? Probably 90s. I don't see that anymore.
It's still running, I think. I think Pat's still at it.
Yeah, it's still on. I think you can watch brand new Wheel of Fortunes or Wheels of Fortune.
I mean, that guy wants to go on the wheel, you know, like he's like, I'm going to host the show until my very last. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's very interesting. Remember when he had a late night talk show for about 5 minutes? Do you guys remember that?
No.
Yep.
No.
So this is a long time ago. I think it was 90s, early 90s. I think that's right. He had a show and it was called the Pat Sajak Show. And it was supposed to be like a late night competitor to Letterman or somebody, and it was not good. It was very bad, and no one watched it, and it went away very quickly. But so did Chevy Chase. So did a bunch of people tried this at one point, and they all failed.
I can't believe it didn't work for Chevy Chase. What a shock with the stories I've heard about him. I can't believe that people didn't want to come on his show and talk to him.
I mean, all you hear is what a nice guy he is and how easy he is to work with, you know?
I went to wheeloffortune.com and under recent videos, it's actually showing Jared Leto hosting.
Shut up.
Yeah, I was like,
what? Hold on.
This is worth mentioning. It's real weird.
Wheel of Fortune, Jared Leto?
Wheel of Fortune, then just go to wheeloffortune.com.
Why Jared Leto took over for Pat Sajak's hosting duties? What is this about?
Like, what a weird unwholesome pick.
I want to believe that it is exactly from Blade Runner, Jared Leto. I mean, when people pick letters, those little pebbles float around and go over and put the letters for him.
This guy can't really wear a suit. He's so thin, man.
He's very thin. Oh, I see video. That's okay. I found a screen grab of it. Here you go, chat. That's crazy to me.
So, like, what's up with his suit? I guess, like, you know how, like, when you're bigger, it's like clothes don't fit, and it's a concern. It's also a concern for thin people, this shows me, too, right? Because it looks like he's got way more material than he needs. He's like wearing like a flag or something. Like, it's
like a 12-year-old going to church or something. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just
that is absolutely crazy to me. Why Jared Leto? He must have some hot feelings for it, and he reached out and said, "Hey, you need to." I mean, I don't know why else you'd do this.
Or he's just coked up, and his agent's like,
"I don't know."
He's like, "Yeah, let's go."
I want to believe that if I had a level of celebrity that opened like stupid doors like, do you want to come briefly host Wheel of Fortune? I would absolutely walk through all of them.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I can't fault him for doing it. Not
No,
that I'm
I can't
the
either.
biggest Jared Leto fan in the world, but like I would, if I was a big celebrity, I think I would walk through as many of those doors as I possibly could.
Why not?
'Cause why not?
Yeah, what's the harm? I mean, there are a lot of others that do it, and we applaud it. Like when we see, I don't know, saw Key and Peele in an episode of Abbott Elementary, and it was like, whoa, what are those guys doing here? Like, it's way out of their pay grade now to do that kind of thing, but they do it anyway. I like that. It's fine. I don't have even problems with Jared Leto in particular. He's fine in things I've seen. I didn't see the Morbius thing, so I don't know.
He didn't send me a dead rat.
No, he didn't send you a dead rat. He didn't send me a dead rat. That movie, though. That was a real bummer. Anyway, whatever. He's in the new Tron movie, and I'm holding out hope that it'll be good. All right? Okay. Let's move on. We got stuff to talk about, specifically games we played. That's where we're starting today. And we played a bunch, so here we go. I played a bunch of games that some of this is going to be shared played, so we'll talk about some of these in conjunction with each other. In fact, let's just start with Animal Well.
You did play Animal Well.
I did. I think that game is super rad, and we found out about it last week on the air, I believe. I can't remember.
Yeah, John played it. John brought it to the table.
Was that what it was? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
I think so. Yeah, it was on John's playlist last week because I bought it. I remember.
I got you both to buy it.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, you got me to buy it on air, and then I have played it a bunch since then. And it's very cool. This is like a special... I feel like this is going to be one of those Metroidvanias people talk about for years. It'll be like, what's the one you don't like, John?
Hollow Knight.
Hollow
No,
Knight.
Hollow Knight.
Yeah, that's it. Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Hollow Knight. And I'm not saying John hates it. I'm just saying it isn't for him. Okay, everyone, calm down. We've had this discussion. Anyway, the point is, it feels like one of those. Like it's kind of special, and people are going to think of it very highly for a very long time. I like what you said last week, and I think it holds after my playtime with it, which is they do not tell you what to do or where to go. There's really no idea at first of what you're doing and why you're doing it, other than it does tell you that if you hit A, you'll jump, and if you hold the O button when you're over a certain switch, it will switch things or whatever. That's like all the information the game really gives you, and then it gives you this lush, pixelated, incredibly awesome sound-worked place to go figure out what the F's going on. And it slowly like unravels itself. And I don't even know if you can call that story as much as it is. Well, it is story. It's just a really cool way of telling that story. And it's really rewarding because anything you discover, you truly do it on your own. You're not looking at some indicator. It's not telling you where to go. And I don't mean that, like games that have easy modes or whatever. I'm not saying this is an easy mode type game. I'm just saying, or even a hard mode kind of game. It's so well crafted that it makes me want to go find shit and do shit and figure it out. And when I do, it's really satisfying. That being said, I'm kind of taking my time with it. I'm not rushing this game. I worry because it's only 30 megabytes that it's actually kind of small.
I don't think you're in any danger.
Yeah.
I think some of the puzzles in this game, based on what I've seen, I think eventually you are going to hit a point where you go, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to need to turn to the internet for some help.
Yeah. I've already hit one. Well, the one I saved on when I last played the other night is definitely one I'm going to probably have to look up. I don't want to, though, because I've had moments of like, oh, Scott, you're screwed. You better look this up. And then I'm like, no, let me try this one more time. And then I figured it out.
Yeah.
And I love the feeling of like, oh, I didn't even have to look that up. I'm a freaking genius.
Yeah, there is a lot of sense of discovery in this game. I mean, when I figured out, well, I'm hesitant to say anything because I kind of want to let people figure it out themselves, That's why when I talked about this last week, I was like, I kind of don't want to say much about it besides there's a lot more to it. It seems very puzzly, and I kind of just want people to have to do their own thing because like, the sense of discovery is a big part of it. And So like I found using a specific tool that I had unlocked, I thought it really only had one real specific use.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that if you time it correctly, you can really do some interesting things with it. And you can maybe use it to jump a lot further or higher than you maybe intended. And so that really opened a lot of doors for me. And that felt like a really cool discovery. The first time I was just like, oh my gosh, if I do this fast enough, I can use this in a completely different way. That all felt just really, really awesome. And that sense of discovery is incredible about this video game.
The design of the game is so centered around that self-discovery, or that sense of discovery, that I think that's what impresses me about it, is it's so well realized. It's obvious somebody has a ton of passion for this kind of puzzle game, and it just really shines through. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, and again, I could go into so many details and stories about this game, but I just kind of don't want to, because I think it's just more fun for people to kind of find and do on their own, because again, like that feeling of, oh my gosh, this worked. This was a thing that I didn't know would work. I didn't know why this thing did this, like, because sometimes you get half the feedback, right? Like, I did this, and this is how the world reacted to it, and now I don't know what to do with it anymore. And that's it. And then you come back to it and something happens and you go, oh my gosh, this has opened up a whole new world to me. So, I love it. I highly recommend it. It's not that expensive. I think people should go out and try it. If you like puzzly games, it definitely falls more into the puzzle game vein than a Metroidvania. Like, so far I haven't had like boss fights or stuff like that. It's really more about exploring the world and figuring out the world. So I don't think it's gonna really speak to if you're like a Hollow Knight fan.
No.
Like, it's similar in the sense of discovery sort of way, but you're not going to be, it's not combat, it's not fighting and epic bosses and all of that. It's really more about discovery and how the world works.
Yeah, even the stuff that approaches combat is more about avoidance than it is about direct combat. It's just something, man. And also just the aesthetics of it I think are mind-blowing. I think it's one of the prettiest games I've played in years. And it really is just a bunch of pixels moving around like it's, nothing too fancy. Like I said, the thing's like 30 megabytes, but it feels much more than that. It's very, very cool. Anyway, that's Animal Well, it's called. It always makes me think of Moon because it feels like, I don't know, there's something about the color scheme.
There's a lot of blues and moonlight. Looks to me. Yeah.
Definitely has that vibe. Well, I'm going to do this in a weird order, because if you think that sounds cool, but you're like, I don't know if I want the puzzles to be too hard, well, then I have another great recommendation for you. There's another one of these coming out. It comes out tomorrow. I got an early code from it from somebody who just had no idea there were 3 hosts on this show.
Oh, man, that's a shame, because this sounds in my wheelhouse.
I think it is. It is called Geno Panic. And again, taking ideas from things like Metroid Fusion, lots of puzzle solving, and it's similar to Animal Well in that regard, because you are solving a ton of puzzles. The setting of it is very different. You're this little space guy. You have entered a facility that is a lot like entering Black Mesa in Half-Life. It's told from a 2D pixelated perspective, but the idea is that you've gone underground where these experiments have been happening, and you're trying to figure out what the heck's going on and find your way through that place. And as it turns out, the place is just riddled with puzzles, usually dealing with, like, especially you're in a room and you got to figure out how to get out of there, or how to turn on a certain thing that won't turn on unless you can do whatever hoops you got to jump through. And you get all kinds of weapons to do that. There's also a creature capturing system, kind of Pokemon-ish, where when you equip that gun and you see one of the creatures you can capture, you can fire it and capture it. And I don't know what they're used for yet because I'm not that far, but that's kind of interesting. I also have a gun that is basically an energy weapon. And what was the other one? There's a third thing that I just got. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, been a lot going on this week. I'm forgetting everything. But anyway, it's very cool. And once again, really nice style, really cool music, great vibe. If you're, familiar with Metroidvanias, then you know all about the hit, select, and now you've got this map that's a subterranean looking map, and there's some backtracking, and there's teleporting from certain places to others, and only certain save points. Like, all those things are very within the Metroidvania tropes that you also see in Animal Well. The difference here is I think these puzzles are a little less crazy, and also you kind of know what your story is. So if the way we describe Animal Well may sound obscure and, well, that's the other word, I'm like, abstract kind of, and it is. I think to its credit it is. It's actually a really cool thing about it. But if you want something a little more grounded in what you're used to in terms of tropes and sci-fi, this and that, and knowing what your goals are, this game may be better for some players. Very, very cool so far. Super into it. I like it a lot. Both of these games are extremely good on Steam Deck. So if you're out there and you're loving your Steam Deck, these two games are very good on there. So that is Genopanic. It will be out tomorrow. I don't know what the price is because I don't think it's on the site yet. Is it?
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, so they may not. I don't know if they just
see it.
Pick it at launch or something. You can't pre-order it, but you can wish list it when it goes live. Definitely worth checking out. If I had to guess, they're probably going to be anywhere between 15 and 20 on this, on the price. But yeah, it's cool. I'm getting like Metroid vibes. I'm getting, like I said, Half-Life vibes in a way I didn't expect. It's very cool. Anyway, that's Genopanic. Now, for something completely different. I played a game called Instruments of Destruction. And I bought this.
I saw this.
Yeah.
I was intrigued because it's very similar looking to maybe a thing that we've both said. I wish they would make another one of those.
Exactly. And that game would be Blast Corps. If you guys remember the old Rare game Blast Corps on the N64. Amazing game. Let you go out and do all kinds of sandboxy bullshit, knock down buildings. Your missions sometimes are timed, but often it was just like knock down as many buildings as you can, or here's your goal, destruction percentage, see if you can reach it, that sort of thing. Well, somebody made a very physics-heavy, I don't know if I'd call it tribute to it, but it's definitely in the vein of Blast Corps. There's a little bit more going on, too. There's an editor and a sandbox mode where you make your own vehicles to do the best destruction. The campaign's pretty straightforward. You just start on a level and it says, all right, here you go. Here's the machine we're giving you for this level. And it's some sort of tank thing with thrusters and gas in reverse. It's also usually got some kind of weapons in the front where you can do more damage. Sometimes missiles, sometimes big forks, sometimes these like saw blades you're seeing in the video right now if you're here live. The physics are crazy cool. The particle physics and the destruction physics are amazing. Reminds me a bit of I always forget the name of the one that we like. That's like
Red Faction?
No. Although a bit of that. You know what? A lot of Red Faction. Now that you say that, clearly inspiration here from Red Faction.
Yeah.
No doubt. But the game I'm thinking of is the one where it's like kind of pixelated.
Is it Teardown?
Teardown, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep, Teardown. Very similar to Teardown in that vibe, but it's not voxels. It's just, looks more like a regular video game. And you have kind of a star system, so you try to get 3 stars on every level, and it's usually like take down 99% of all buildings, but don't, one of the subtext things is don't wreck any ancient structures like any ruins, or we'll deduct points from you. Or sometimes it's get all the ruins and don't touch anything else. Sometimes it's blow these containers out into the sea, and you have the kind of vehicle that has like a big air compressor in the front that shoves these things way out into the ocean. And you have to do that within a timer or whatever. Then you go to the next level and so on. They have a whole campaign full of these levels. You have weird vehicles like this one right here is this ball. This is like literally the second or third level. This thing is so much fun because you use it like a bomb. You just drop this shit and just explode shit all over the place. Anyway, this game is very cool and immediately reminded me of Blast Corps. And I was getting those same vibes, the same sense of satisfaction. Things blow up real good. Lots of little particles and chunks. Just a chunky game. And I'm really excited to play more. This just came out, so I want to say this is maybe less than a week or something. Oh, look at that. That felt good. Oh, yeah. Look at that ball.
This is like a
For the audio only, Scott is reacting to a video of the building being
This
destroyed.
is Scott's ASMR content as well.
Like, there is something about video game particle physics and like explosion physics, something games.
I love seeing all that. I just want to integrate it into a shooter or something too. Like,
Yeah,
but
I think
it
that's
still looks
why
cool.
Red Faction Guerrilla was so good, was because it was like this, but at the same time, people were shooting at you.
Oh
and
yeah.
There was a lot of organic, like, oh, I got to do this, but I got a time limit, or I did. And not only did I destroy the building, but it all fell down on a bunch of bad guys. That's an extra layer of satisfying.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm just amazed in general that there aren't more games like this, because I see stuff like this and I just immediately I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just gravitate toward it, right? There's something about it.
Yeah.
I can't even put my finger on it. It is like a visual ASMR for me. I see this stuff and it just feels so satisfying. Oh my gosh, that explosion was so good. The thing about it is there's also a narrator lady, and every level should go, all right, we're sending you in with this prototype. Be careful. We're not sure what this thing will do if you push too hard on the gas. And like, it's kind of got a little humor to it. You feel like you're working for some skeevy company that's not telling you everything. So they have some cool flavor stuff around it. It isn't just simply go blow shit up, although that is mainly what you're doing.
Yeah.
But there's a hydrofoil. At one point, I got wrapped up in a cable on my ship so that I could no longer, as soon as I went out into the water, it just pulled me at the bottom of the ocean and killed me. It was kind of terrible. But I love that. I love the randomization and the kind of unexpected
and the sheer
stuff.
number of vehicles in this are like whoever thought of them is like kind of a diabolical. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Just all the different types of ways to like chunk. I'm watching the trailer, right, and it's like it's crazy.
It's really cool.
It's cool.
The thing about the game too is if you do all this and finish it, there's some missiles. These look so good. They have a whole, like I said, sandbox mode where it isn't just go drive around and smash things. It's here's a level full of random stuff. Now build a vehicle you think will work here. And you have a whole assembly thing. And it's like, all right, here's the chassis, here's the weapons.
So you have like an engineering problem. Like it gives you a goal and you got to solve it via your build. Yeah.
Now I could be wrong, but I thought I also saw in the menu I could look at other people's work and download it. I have not done that, so I can't say for sure if that's the case. But yeah, it is like those games had a baby. Because this has got a ton of those inspirations. You may as well be on Mars for half of this thing. And, I don't know. There's something about it that just says to me these guys love those games, Red Faction, and what was the other one I said? Oh, Blast Core.
Teardown. Blast Core.
Yeah, Teardown. I think Teardown, too. Like, more of a modern example, but it's just a rad... Oh, look at this. This one, see, this level's all about just killing the power lines.
Just to really lean into our specific interests here, the niche that we like. Bo, now imagine this level of destructibility, but with Transformers.
Oh, Gen 1 Transformers, Bo.
In
Gen
a big
1.
city.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
You'd sign up for that? You'd be in?
I'd sign up for it.
It would be so cool to be able to like turn into a truck, like leap off a building, turn into a truck, and crash that truck through the middle of another building.
Yeah, I would like that.
That's all I want.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I want this in real life. I want to be able to. That's what I liked about Teardown. I just want to
go out and do that right now.
Yeah, I want to go break stuff. It sounds awesome. Like these rage rooms that are all the rage. No, I shouldn't use the word twice, but these rage rooms where you go and you pay to just smash up office equipment and stuff. It's like that kind of release for me. I love that feeling.
You ever thought about like, can you pay like when they're going to demolish a building? Can you pay like money to be the guy that pushes the dynamite thing down?
Maybe. I don't know. When I was in high school.
You should do one of those.
Or junior high. I guess I was in junior high. My dad owned a duplex downtown. It was kind of a sketchy part of town. And he had to, there was something going on where he had to demolish it. And if he did, the city would pay him, I don't know what. And this is back before they worried too much about OSHA crap and all that. So he hired me and my brother for $20 each to go down there that day. with giant rubber sledgehammers and tear down this freaking building, or at least the interiors. It was amazing.
There you go.
It's one of the greatest things I ever did in my life to this day. It was so awesome. And the people that lived there before, we found all this like weed paraphernalia and like those black light posters of like tigers and stuff. It was like some freaking, hippie, whoever living there. I found an old condom. It was great.
Yeah. Best day ever.
I really saved the best for last there.
Yeah. It was
Built
great.
It up.
It was great.
But yeah, this definitely scratches those kinds of itches. If they'll sound interesting to people, it really is a fun sandbox and is on Steam now. Don't get it mixed up with Tools of Destruction. That's a Ratchet and Clank sequel that is also on Steam.
You're sale right now. I keep almost buying it because I
heard good things.
I love how Ratchet and Clank looks, but I so rarely am like able to make time for it specifically.
Yeah.
But I love how it looks. I love those games in general. I keep nearly buying it.
I played a ton of it on PlayStation Plus, but I didn't finish it. It's the kind of game I never finish. It's just like
that's where I'm at with most of the Ratchet and Clanks. Like I
remember
invest hours into it and never finish the thing.
Yeah. This won't affect Scott as much, but John, just to save you a few bucks over the next couple of weeks with the impulse buying of games, just remember Elden Ring DLC is coming soon.
Oh,
that's right.
It is. Which is even scarier for me because shortly thereafter is the return of Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, they're ramping up. I know it's soon because they're telling me to drink Mountain Dew to get stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're in the Mountain Dew phase of marketing, I got to get ready for expansion time. The problem is I've spent so much time, like, I don't talk about it every week because there's not a lot to talk about, but I log into Final Fantasy XIV almost every week. But I usually am not doing combat related things. And so all my fighting and rotation stuff, I've just I've fallen off. I don't know how to fight anymore. I've changed my buttons around. I couldn't play this game to save my life right now. I'm about to have to go do an expansion. So I've got to go relearn how to play the game again.
Yeah.
And set everything back up and get into expansion mode because it's coming soon.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Real quick. I see you in there all the time.
I know. Yoshi P gave me a week. I got to do it.
I keep seeing you pop into that game while I'm online. And I keep going, why is John Poke? And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. This is coming up. He's probably got like...
I'm usually checking to see if I won the lottery and making sure my house doesn't get sold.
Yeah.
This is usually what I'm doing in the game. I'm like, did I win a lottery? No.
No. Is
Okay,
your house...
I got to go into my house so they don't give it to somebody else.
Oh, is that... I didn't know if you had to do like a payment thing, or do you just walk in there and make sure you've been in there? And then
you have to prove that you haven't abandoned it.
Okay.
So you have... It's like an extended period of time. Like, I think they give you like a month of never going into your house or something before they even flag you. But I still just do it every week at least.
Nothing wrong with that. Make sure your shit's okay. It's like security. You want to have a camera.
Yeah. Well, and the level of housing crisis in Final Fantasy, like, you gotta hold on to that. If you get it, you gotta hold on to it. You can't let that
it's
go.
actual real estate in that game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a virtual zone in thing.
Well, yes and no. There is residential zones that you zone into.
Yeah.
But then it is a physical space within those zones.
Right. Which is pretty wild to me that they do that. And they don't duplicate it.
So if you know where my house is, you can go check it out yourself.
But are they duplicated, meaning there are separate instances where the exact same layout of where you live is? What makes it yours, and how do you know you're in the right instance if I'm seeing yours?
Because they have like plot numbers. So it's like I'm in zone 4 plot, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I don't know what they all are. I don't remember the exact names for them. But yeah, there's only so many instances of it, but I've got a lot of neighbors. I like my neighbors fine.
Sure.
They're all right.
Yeah.
I'm in a good spot where I don't have to worry much about neighbors, actually. I'm really kind of on my own where I'm at.
Nice. That's a very John thing to do in a video game. I like it.
Yeah, it's still decorated for Christmas.
What's the launch for that? June something? When's it come out? the expansion.
When does it come out?
The party vacation expansion for Final Fantasy XIV.
The vacation expansion. I'm sure nothing else happens except just partying.
Yeah.
They're saying July 2nd, but I think there is an early access that's in June.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you pre-order.
Probably
I've got the big collector's edition coming.
Ooh, fancy pantsy.
Really excited for it.
Did I tell you that a guy who worked at the original Fallout teams at Interplay? Let's see if I can find it. He's a big listener and came to the TMS Vegas event and all that kind of stuff. And he gave me two things that I love. One is, let me make sure this doesn't fall off because I haven't had a chance to glue it yet. But he sent me the Ghoul.
Oh,
from
that's
Fallout.
Super cool.
How awesome is that? It's a 3D print of the
sick.
Ghoul. It's amazing. He made this himself. There's a hat, but the hat, my daughter broke the hat. She didn't really break it. It had a seam on it from two different filaments. Long story. So he's reprinting the hat. Anyway, I love this. But he also worked with the team that made Wastelands 3. And now I don't know where it is. But he gave me the collector's edition of that thing, and it has got some rad shit in there, which is what made me want to start a new run in Wasteland 3. So
yeah,
we'll see if I end up doing that. But anyway, so there you go. Where was I? Instruments of Destruction. That's the game you want to play. Instruments of Destruction, available on Steam now. I also played a bunch of stuff we don't have to talk long about. I played more Fallout 4. I've been playing Farm Together 2. Still playing that, John. Still playing.
At no point did I say you weren't gonna play this game. What was the game I said you would stop playing? It was not this.
Oh, the little desktop down in the corner thing. Or no, it was the phone thing.
That one. It was the mobile thing.
Yeah, guess what? Guess what? I have some news for you on that front. I haven't touched that in about 2 weeks, so
I am so proud of you, Scott. Good job.
You know what?
Well,
you're
supposed to be AFK. Isn't it called AFK Crusader?
It is. It is called that. But the problem is they cap it, so you can't just let it sit forever. You have to go in and do stuff.
False advertising.
Kind of. So watch this. I'm going to do this right now live on the air. I'm going to select AFK Journey.
Okay.
Whoops. Shit.
Don't talk yourself.
Now he's playing it. Oh, no, I got him again.
I keep touching this thing and I don't mean to. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to just push, hold. Come on. Oh, shit. It did launch. Okay, here we go. All right.
What, you trying to delete it?
I'm deleting it. Deleting it. See that delete button? Watch. Watch. Delete. Oh, it's going to confirm. Delete AFK Journey. Delete this app. Will also delete this data. Delete. Oh, AFK
Oh my
Journey.
gosh! Look at that.
Mobile gaming.
Character growth. Look at that.
Yeah.
Mobile game devs in shambles.
Take that, jerks. I got too many other games to play.
Why, what happened? Why'd you stop playing? Too many
I just
games,
got bored, like John thought I would.
It was chores.
It's
shocking. He wasn't playing a game. He was.
It's shocking that a game called
task.
AFK Journey would be boring.
I mean, the writing was kind of on the wall, right? So anyway, I don't need to play it anymore. However, I did restart a game of Cyberpunk because John was so glowy last week about it, and he's right. That game's so good. So
it hit overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Finally.
Yeah, they were really excited about it. They celebrated in a big way.
After many years, that's kind of a big win, to be honest.
That works when you work your game out to be amazing and not stop because you had a rough launch. Like, you stick with it, people will respect it and give you the accolades later. Like, you know who deserved a 2.0 and never got it because they just didn't think that far ahead? I think Anthem could have been something.
They tried. It got canceled.
I'm with you. I actually watched a video of a guy. I don't know who the creator was, but he logged in the last month of it being online.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching. I'm like, this game looks awesome. Like when you look at the robots and stuff. Like, I played it.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely had problems, but like the concept and even the execution on like the actual mechs and stuff, so cool.
Some of it's very cool.
There was some stuff in there that was really awesome. I think that's what makes games like Anthem, and others that get talked about a lot, so disappointing. Is that, like, a bad game is a bad game, but a game where you see so much potential and so many exciting concepts that it just doesn't quite execute on feels way worse because you you still want it. It's like, oh my gosh, the promise was so cool, and it's not being delivered on, and I just wish it was. Like, that's way more maddening, in my opinion, than a game that's just not good to begin with. It's like, okay, well, bad games are a dime a dozen, but it's a lot more painful for a game like Anthem, where we all saw cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like you get this revisionist history where people's like, I knew that game was going to be a failure. No, you didn't.
No,
like,
you
it was
didn't, no.
disappointing because we saw who was making it, we saw what they were making, and it was exciting, and we were hopeful.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite hit.
And unlike CD Projekt Red, they were never going to cancel development on making it right. And for that matter, you know, a smaller team like Hello with No Man's Sky, they were committed to taking it from a sort of an abysmal launch to something special, and they both did that. I think they could have over there, but EA wasn't going to pay for it, so, you know,
yeah,
we got what we got. Anyway, I also played Diablo IV, but I didn't play enough to really talk about it, so I'm going to leave that to John here in a second. But I started a Barbarian in this new season. Everybody's talking very positively about this season. Like, people who are usually very critical of Diablo are like, I'm back in. This is amazing. This season answered about 50 of my questions. And so we'll see. I mean, so far it just feels like I started a new season of Diablo. So there's nothing really fancy happening in the first 20 minutes or however long I played. I think I got to level 3 and then got busy and couldn't play. But
yeah, level 3. Geez.
Yeah,
I stabbed a wolf and called it a day.
Yeah, you get level 3 very quick. It was like maybe 15, 20 minutes or something.
It's like, I went for a walk today, made it to the end of my driveway. Might go for another walk tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, my review of walking, pretty good. It's not bad.
People say you get tired on walks, but not me. I could have probably done it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, so to your point, I don't really have a good view of what this season's like or what got fixed. Like, I don't even have any real loot to call 2.0 or otherwise, so I'll have to mess around more. But I do like that they gave us this option, and John, you can say whether you decided to use it or not, but when I logged in, it said, hey, we've added a new graphic thing where if you want greater contrast for the characters and the enemies, it felt like more of an accessibility thing for vision, but it's up front and center, so clearly they mean it for everybody. And it said, you want to do that, you can do that. And they give you 2 examples, and one of them shows skeletons running around, and then you as the hero, and they're like sharper highlights on your armor. The skeletons look whiter and brighter.
So Diablo 3 mode.
Kinda.
Do you want Diablo 3 mode?
And they do say underneath the one where it stays the same, they said, this is how we intend it to be played.
Yeah,
but if you wanna
throw that on there,
yeah.
It looks so much better in high contrast. It looks so
does it?
So much better. And I turned around and went, this could use more contrast.
Even though they changed it, John's like, a little more. Give me a slider.
I mean, I think what I'm really hungry for at this point is like, what if there was color and vibrance in this world? What if it didn't look like the end result of mixing all the Play-Doh together?
Well,
what if we had individual Play-Dohs?
As someone
I'm not mad about that, actually.
I'm not either, but as someone who I like the dark aesthetic, personally. We've had this discussion before.
Color.
Right.
You can absolutely.
I agree, but I like the darkness of Diablo 4, and so I didn't opt for the high contrast.
You should turn it on.
I want to see it
way better.
And I
turn
can do
it on, Scott. See what you think.
I can do it anytime, right? It's just in the options.
I don't know. They asked me. I turned it on. And I was like, "Oh, this game looks better."
It's in the options.
Okay.
Yes, you can see it.
I do.
It's not too late.
No, you get one chance, Scott. One chance to fix the game.
Yeah, I assume there's other ways to do it. But anyway, I appreciate them doing that because I think it directly addresses people like John's problem with some of that stuff. And it may not address your full color issues, but making the game just more visually trackable, have a better visual game language, I think is probably a good thing for the game. I'm sure that's why they did it. So I guess grats to them for that. But I haven't played near enough to say, so we'll get to that in a second. I also played Rotwood, but I'll bet Bo played more than me, so we'll save that for him as well.
We can talk about it together when we get to it.
Yeah, I finally did pick that up, and I think I might actually.
We should play together sometime.
We should. That game supports all that, right? We can get in together.
Well, it's a 4-player co-op game.
Yeah, I think I might want to try.
Well, we can just talk about it now. Let's just talk about it now.
Let's talk about it.
Awesome.
Yep.
It's basically you're mixing Castle Crashers with like a Hades, like a roguelite, is my impression of it so far. So 4 players beat 'em up, but you have different weapons and roguelite unlocks that you and your team It's basically just like playing a roguelite but with friends.
Right.
Which it's not the first of its kind to do, but it's a Clay game.
Oh, right.
So...
I played this during the...
you did play it too. Well,
Demo Fest or
I
whatever.
played it during the demo thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the demos I tried.
like it. They're so adorable, the character. Everything... Like, it's not like Castle Crashers, and the Castle Crashers has that, like, I'm a high schooler drawing poo kind of aesthetic to it. And this... but like I'm good at drawing the poo, like I'm a talented drawer, but it's, you know what I mean.
I get it.
It's a little goofy in that way. I'm just like, I feel like I'm playing a TV show, like a Saturday cartoon. Like Clay like nails it in the art department.
They always
but
have.
like
They're
from
so good.
Griftlands, like I'm like, they really lack in the VO department. I mean, I really hope they hire some VO and give everything life, because their art deserves great VO.
I thought the VO in Griftlands was pretty good. You didn't like it in there?
No, there isn't. It's Simlish. There's no VO.
Oh shit!
Except
right.
except like the opening stories and stuff.
Right.
No, and I'm like, man, I'd love for these well animated characters to be speaking. It would just make the game pops even more, because it's like John said. Sometimes it's like a game is so good and then they don't. It's the only thing Clay games I've played, I feel like they're missing, is they just need a real they need a core team. I mean, hey, we'll work for cheap and we'll deliver great product here.
Yeah, whatever you need. You got a little.
Give us a call.
You got a wolf with a hammer. I can do the
Our
voice.
other projects include voicing Transformers, and we've
Thor,
worked on the upcoming
George
Thor
Miller
5.
Thor
5.
A little pre-show throwback for you. Anyway,
but no, I can't wait to play this with people. It's fun. It's it's got that whole basic controls, but you get your roguelike upgrades, and it's interesting. And I'm only doing the first run. I think there's stuff I haven't fully explored yet, so I don't know how deep the systems go. But so far, I love it. Like, it's really good.
It's very, very good. I mean, Clay doesn't make anything where I don't immediately know I'm going to like it, but it sometimes it's a genre thing. Like, I didn't like Don't Starve because I wasn't really into survival games at the time.
Yeah.
But I know I know that it's a fantastic product. It's like, that's not the problem. In this case, I like roguelikes, and I like this kind of combat. It's almost Souls-like in some ways. Like, the way you have to use that hammer, you got to do some shit.
you got to dodge and stuff. Also, it's just there's like these little seedling guys, right? They're enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I get deeper into the dungeon, seedling guys will team up and be stacked too high, but then split apart and attack, but then team up and be too there's a lot of inventive ideas that the monsters, they use the same monsters but in different ways as you get deeper. That's like, oh, that's cool. Like, that they thought of it and implement. Like, I really appreciate good enemy design, and they're like, they seem really basic at first, but they get harder, and they also just, again, animate very creatively in the ways that they get harder. Like, it's a really interesting little game they're making.
Yeah,
here.
those little seedlings show up, and then you're like, okay, well, now I got them down. This is no problem. Later on, you see those again and go, I got these stupid seedlings. And now they're stacking on top of each other. One of them swallows another one and then shoots him out like a horrible bomb. Like,
like it's real weird and cool. And
it's
I'm
cool.
looking forward to playing more. I've played through to like the end of the first boss or whatever, so not a ton, but it's almost one of those ones where I'm like, I want to play this with people. Like, I need to save this. Maybe like it feels lonely. Like,
I got
even
farther.
Showing video of 2 people playing, and it looks cool.
Oh yeah, it looks super. I think co-op would be a blast. I got as far as the I beat the first boss and then got to the second wave. It unlocked a bunch of stuff, and then the boss character ended up being a regular thing I had to fight all the time. That's another thing the game does. Right. Like, you'll get more powerful, but also it will say, hey, remember that boss you fought? Well, now he's just a mob.
Yeah.
So enjoy, and it's really challenging. It's fun and challenging. The different moves you can do are simple but effective. It's neat. It's a neat little game so far. And Clay make it, and they don't make crap. They don't know how to make crap. Even if you're saying to yourselves, oh, I don't want to do another game where I start a run and I get upgrades and then I would die and I go do it again. Like if the roguelike thing is, if you feel done with that right now, people I'm talking to at home, I still think this is just a great one of those.
And let Clay make the Transformers G1 video game, please.
I'd watch that, or I'd pay to play that. Hell yeah,
hell yeah. The animations and art is phenomenal. These guys are really good.
Yeah, they've always kind of been top shelf, and this proves it again. Again, that's Rotwood, available in early access on Steam. John, let's talk about Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, Vampire Survivors is back.
Yeah, baby.
It's been a long time since I played Vampire Survivors, and I picked it up because they did a bit of DLC called Operation Guns, which is a tie-in to Contra. And I like Contra, and I like Vampire Survivors, and I thought, wow, these are two great flavors that I think probably go well together. And wouldn't you know it, these are two great flavors that go really great together, Scott. You like Contra?
I do. I did. I don't know if I like it now. Maybe I do. I did, though.
What about
as
Contra
a kid.
Hardcore? Where you can be like
killed.
A little robot or a vampire guy.
Okay.
Or not vampire, werewolf looking guy.
Okay, that's not bad. That sounds all right, what you've said.
They're all characters now in Vampire Survivors, and they're great.
Wow. But did they make a deal? They signed some kind of weird deal with Konami and just said, hey, we already stole all your Castlevania art. Can we just keep putting shit in here that you guys own?
They did. It's literally the characters. They have the same name. This isn't even like, this is official Contra. Like, it's Contra stages, Contra power-ups. You can get the spread gun. You can get like all that stuff is in here. The characters are the characters. It has Contra enemies. It's really good. And it reminded me that as much as I liked the dwarf game Survivor, like as much as I liked Death Must Die, this is still my absolute favorite one of these, by a huge margin. And I proceeded to not only play and beat Operation Guns DLC. I've unlocked everything there is to unlock, played through all the stages, done everything you can do. I then went and bought Emergency Meeting, which is their Among Us DLC.
Okay. That makes sense. Emergency Meeting. I get it.
That up,
yeah.
And I started playing through that, and I have once again 100%ed Vampire Survivors. I got all the achievements. I fell off somewhere along the updates, let it lapse, and now I'm back up to 100% achievements on it because I can't stop playing it. It's just so good.
Well, I'm glad that it continues to be for the $2.99 game that just keeps giving.
I think a couple more DLCs come out, and I might have actually spent a small amount of money on this game.
You might have spent $10 on this game.
I might be almost at $10.
Damn.
In this.
Let me see the total cost nowadays.
Well, you make it in a weekend.
Yeah.
All
right. The cost of the game is now $6.
For everything. For the base
with
game.
all the for the base game and with all the DLC, at least Canadian. Sorry, it's $21 Canadian, so maybe $15 American.
Oh wow.
Looks like here it is. That's just for the content. So yeah,
it's
you're
a
about
ripoff for
right,
a game
15.
made in a weekend.
Yeah,
I mean,
just kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, I think that he is whoever the dude what made this, that guy's having a moment here, right? Like he's doing just fine. And the fact that he started this, hit the ground running with like a bunch of stuff that was a little questionable about why he was using art from another IP, to then that IP working directly with them to let him have access to all this stuff and do Contra shit and everything else.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great story. I love that.
I unlocked a character called Simondo Belmont. And I really like that that's just his name. That's who he is.
Simondo. That's amazing.
Simondo Belmont. And he doesn't have any weapons to start. He looks like just a nerd dude walking around.
Well, now you're making me want to get in there and look at it.
Get in it. You should try the Operation Guns. I actually think the Contra map is maybe my favorite map in the game. Because it stopped being just like, obviously the first map is like a big field. And like it's a little infinite field. But with the DLCs, they've gotten more on it's an actual map. It's less this just like infinite hallway. And it's more like, it's a map that you can navigate, and by going to certain places and doing certain things within those maps, you can trigger certain events and things like that. So, like, for example, the emergency meeting one, like Among Us, they give you random tasks where it's like, you gotta go hit buttons right now. And if you do, you get a legendary chest and a lot of upgrades, but you have to navigate the map to get there, and you have to get through the waves of enemies to do it. The Contra one is really cool because you kind of start in the jungle with the very Contra style bridge and all of that, and then you go into a destroyed city, and then you can go into like that kind of alien inspired type of vibe. And you literally fight the final boss from Contra Hardcore. I think that's the Contra game, right? That's what it's called.
Contra Hard, the new one, you mean?
No, not the new one. It was on like Genesis.
Well, there was Contra something core. Was it Hardcore?
Yeah.
I think you might be right. Hard Corpse, but core.
Corpse.
Spelled
core.
Spelled like Army Corps kind of thing.
Yeah. You fight the actual last boss from that. He's a big pusher. Yeah, this is the one where you got the little tiny robot with a big gun, and there's a werewolf. I think his name is like Brad or something like that. Like that. This crew is a good crew. They're all in there. It's awesome. In fact, I actually took a picture of this because I was like, man, we're reaching Fortnite levels here. I'm going to share this picture in our Discord with you, Scott.
All right, let's see it.
Because this is me as the imposter from Among Us fighting the final boss from Contra Hardcore while the death sprite from Vampire Survivors comes to claim me because I've beaten the stage.
Okay, this is amazing.
I just saw it and I was like, oh, another game where I'm doing Fortnite levels of crossover.
So look at you in your little hat.
Yeah.
That's great. I feel like I'm seeing the greatest. It's like an old Marvel game or something. This is great. It's like Red Skull, but blue skull.
It's fun. And the Contra thing, like I'll say the Among Us DLC, I haven't unlocked everything there. It's not tied to achievements, which is why I still have a 100%. I'm still unlocking stuff there. It's not my favorite. I don't play Among Us, so it didn't resonate. Hold that level of appeal. But Operation Guns is cool because the guns are cool and feel really powerful, and the stuff you unlock is really good too.
Nice. Vampire Survivors still a threat and still on Steam and various other platforms. John, Diablo IV, Loot 2.0. You played longer than me, I hope, anyway, because I only played 20 minutes. So what do you think of the new?
I killed more than a wolf. Yeah.
How is it?
So I think if you were to say, okay, let's set all our Diablo grievances on the table, I think a lot of them would be subjective, and I think a few would be objective grievances. And I think top of the objective grievance food chain for launch Diablo 4 would be loot.
Yeah.
I don't think they got it right. Obviously, there's going to be someone out there, because there always is, who's like, I liked it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Most people, vast majority would go loot wasn't where it was at.
There were people that said that in Diablo 3, and that was categorically wrong. Like Loot 2.0 there just cleared up so many issues. So yeah, let the minority be what they are, because there's no way.
So,
there's a huge improvement.
I think this was a very important thing for them to fix so far, with my time, which is not an insane amount of time, but it's more than Scott. I don't know what level I am, but I've leveled up many times.
Yeah.
I have gotten loot that is easy to understand. I look at it and go, I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm losing. I've gotten loot that looks more interesting. I've gotten a legendary item already that made me go, oh, I guess I could change a build around this, which continues to baffle me why it costs money to refund skills when you are going to put gear that mandates a change in your build in there. I think
just a
that's
gold sink.
Stupid gold sink.
Yeah.
They've trivialized it, yes, but at a certain point, if you're gonna trivialize it, why is it there?
It adds up later game when you're full, though, I'll say, because it's also the Paragon boards.
It's expensive then, yeah. It's pricey.
It's just silly. I still think that should go away. But I've been banging that drum since it was in alpha, and they still don't want to listen to me.
No.
But the loot in general, it seems better. The big thing I've done, and it's actually, there's been so many of them, it's kind of been the only thing I've done, is they have made Helltides more interesting. Helltides before were very much like, it felt like it was something that should be cool that was never cool. Like you would go there and the world would look neat and there'd be these, it's like, oh, what's going on? It's all bloody and forces of hell are invading. And then you'd kind of just run around killing stuff, picking up things, and then looking for chests where you can turn that into gear. And that was really it. And occasionally there would be something like a big boss, and some of them seemed broken with how many hit points they had. It just felt like there's potential here that's not being reached. Helltides are definitely a lot more chaotic and interesting. I'm still not 100% sure how all the mechanics work because I haven't read anything about it. I just know they got changed. There's definitely more to do during a Helltide. The currency comes a lot faster. There seems to be almost like I don't know if I would call it a full like wanted level, but it definitely feels like the more active you are there, the more minions they send after you. So you're going to be fighting more, and it keeps ramping up to a degree. And I went out there like level 3. There was a Helltide right outside the main city, and I just got sucked in. And by the time I was done and was like, my inventory's full, I have got to get out of here, I had leveled up a ton. I had completely changed my gear set probably twice, and I had a legendary item.
Oh, man.
So it was a very eventful Helltide, and it got me the XP. It kind of just kept building on itself where it's like, oh, well, I guess I'll go do this now. Oh, I guess I'll go do this. So there was a real natural like flow to it. So it has really improved what I feel is this one may be a little more subjective criticism of the game, which I think the overworld sucks in Diablo 4. I don't think it's very interesting. I think it's kind of bad, and I think by doing an overworld with everything connected, I think it removed a natural act break and made everything in general feel less special. And that's my big criticism of the overworld. Helltides being more interesting has made that more compelling. And so I don't know. I think if you enjoy Diablo 4, if it's a game you enjoy, I think you are going to be playing a much better version of Diablo 4 this season. I did not buy the season pass or anything like that, just FYI, in case anybody's wondering if that requires an investment to be enjoyable. It does not.
Yeah.
If you're already kind of in on Diablo 4, I think this is going to be a good season and you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you are not in on Diablo 4, this is a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's going to change your opinion.
If it's going to solve all your problems or not. I will say, though, I noticed from what I've seen anyway, the season 4 loot, both sets and stuff that you can earn in game, not talking about store stuff, marked improvement over previous seasons. I think
it's tricky because a lot of that is tied to your seasonal pass. Like,
that's
and
true.
Some of it is free. Like I've unlocked free pants so far. But like they aren't hiding it anymore. And I heard an interview and they aren't trying to pretend like it's the case anymore. Even though it's just now a blatant lie that they have said, which is we're not putting the cool stuff just on the store. They're not really shy about that anymore. They're just like, yeah, no, the cool stuff's on the store. We know.
Yeah.
It is. I don't want to sit here and badmouth Diablo 4 too much. There's a common thing that I get quoted from the show, which was just make the game. And the whole idea behind just make the game is it's time for Blizzard to stop pretending they're a prestige developer when they haven't acted like one for years. So they should just make the video games now. And I feel like I do genuinely believe that. So maybe I need to hold my judgments of their games to the same lowered standard that I'm saying that they themselves possess. By that metric, Diablo 4 is doing just fine. I think it could be a lot better.
Interesting. I think that's fair. Like, again, I haven't played near enough to say, but I don't know. Felt good getting in. Also, the new graphic options are nice, which I didn't really mess with. Those are a little older now. That's been a couple of weeks since they added maybe even a month since they added
it did look better. So I know there's been some NVIDIA stuff and some new changes. The high contrast mode, I think, does help with the visual clutter of the game, which can be very problematic. I was able to do more with, at least it felt like I was able to understand where I was and how my abilities were working and all of that better than I had in the past. So I think that's good. I think they're making positive changes. I think if you fall more into the camp that I'm in, which is, boy, I really wish I could play an excellent Diablo game, and Diablo 4 isn't it. I think we're still going to be waiting for the expansion. But I do think that if you've enjoyed your time, this is a good season to check out.
Well, there you go. Season 4, Diablo, available on Steam, Game Pass, Battle.net, and consoles. All right, Bo, you played a game that I almost pulled the trigger on, Mullet Madjack. Please tell me that I want to play this game because on the surface, it seems pretty rad.
So this was an impulse buy because I was like, I already have enough games, but I saw the overwhelmingly positive. I saw the Doom Eternal crazy ass gameplay, and said, you know what, I have to play this, and also the '80s anime.
Yeah, big time. It's the stuff I like.
So this game, TLDR, this game is basically a first-person shooter, a roguelite game where you have to. It's in a cyberpunk future where you are, I guess you're Madjack Mullet. I don't know what your name is, but in the future, okay, there are these people who hate robots. Yeah. They're called moderators.
Yeah.
And they live life on the edge. So what happens is...
I love that. That's amazing.
So what happens is if you get selected by this live streaming corporation, you have to entertain a Twitch chat by getting kills within 10 seconds and ensuring a dopamine rush. If not, you will die.
Okay.
So you have 10 seconds to live, and each kill adds more seconds to the clock, and you got to race through. Whoever's playing this one is going slow as shit. Like, holy crap, man.
I have this game, but in a different form. Remember, I talked about this months ago. There's a game I have that is exactly this, except that it doesn't have this like fake chat room aspect to it, but it's hurry up and get through there and kill, or you're going to die. It's the same kind of idea.
So it's not a new concept, but the presentation factor is 10 on 10.
Yeah.
Like, as you can see, there's like an anime girl who talks to you. You've got the person you're rescuing is an influencer with 2 billion followers who's kidnapped. So it's pretty important to get that streamer saved. Yeah. You hold up your phone on the left, which tells you how much time is there. Your guy has like a Duke Nukem style talk. Like, you'll start the level like, it's never good to be late, kids. And then you just go, or like, he'll just say like really weird things. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The weapons are badass. But also, like, there's just it's like it's oozing touches. Like, when you open the game, you can open the box, like, because you don't get a box with the game, so it's like a historical museum area, and it's important to do this because you get a free item in your game. So go ahead and do it. But it's like it shows you a box. Back in the day, you used to get video games in a box, and because there's no internet, there was a flap that showed you even more screenshots of the game, and inside there's a whole instruction manual. And there's a CD-ROM in there. Like, it does the whole thing. Like, it's just dripping with details and, like, humor that's on point, or, like, feels like streamer culture gone awry, right? The whole idea is, like, the moderator's like a Twitch streamer, and the audience just wants to see kills, but also you'll die. Like, that's part of the entertainment, right?
Yeah.
And you just press W. There's only 2 buttons in the game. There's shoot. Oh, there's 3. There's jump, shoot, and dash, but dash is also various forms of kicking and stabbing.
right.
And that's it. You just move forward. You got 10 seconds, kill something, and there's lots of enemies. The corridors are pretty narrow, so you usually finding stuff, and you press W and you go 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 go, and I had a hard time putting this down. Like I was a little bit like not in the mood, but I was like, I really need to check this out. And then after like an hour of playing it, I'm like, I just want to do this all day. It's so good. I highly recommend this one. Yeah, it's good.
It seems
even
very
like,
cool.
yeah.
Like with the vibe, the 80s, like Akira level and like era anime vibe.
Yeah, it's the anime vibe too. There's a lot of like Akira like not Akira references, but just anime references. Look at the way the girl's animated and the lines she delivers, fully voice acted.
Yeah.
By the way, so she talks to you in between levels. And you got really neat weapons, like the samurai sword is fun. You don't necessarily need to use guns. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, when you're playing it, it feels different than when you're watching. When you're watching, you kind of see what's going on. When you're playing, you're like, I've only got 8 seconds to kill something.
Yeah, it's almost easier to watch because you can kind of pay attention to the side details, but playing it.
And you do have health, but I still haven't figured out how to pay attention to what my health is. Like, I'll get hit, and I'm like, I hope I'm not close. You can die from damage.
Yeah.
I think it's like your face, like the color of the number is like how much health you're at, but I don't really know.
Oh, and the little cassette futurism handheld thing you're holding there? That thing's awesome.
And your cell phone thing that you have.
I love the shit like that with like little dials on it and big fat plastic on the corners and
like everything is like a just like thought of in terms of the mechanic, right? Like you're holding up your phone now to pick your new item in there, and you see Twitch chat scrolling on the right. People are thumbs upping and GGing on the right side, and I love it. It's really good.
Seems good.
Play it again.
This seems like a blast.
I was playing before the show, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to play this more.
I saw this. The reviews were like really good, and I saw an article somewhere about it, and I was like, this sounds like something I just have to play.
It's currently overwhelmingly positive, so it's hitting great. So this kind of game is my ASMR. Shoot, stab things at real big close up, and move forward.
Video games, baby.
I like this.
Again, that is Mullet Madjack, available on Steam. Not early access, full release, right? I think.
We're in full release.
All right.
So
Nice.
It's just out. No having to wait for content. Although I'm sure they're going to release content for this, probably.
Seems
if
like.
I had to guess, because it's so successful.
Tell me about Terra Nil, a game I slept on and meant to play and haven't yet, and I don't know why I haven't.
bought it like months and months ago, if not maybe even a year ago. But Terra Nil, I'm just like trying to try things in my library. It's for the show, but also like I bought them for a reason. I want to get some value out of them. So I'm trying to just get into my game backlog a little more. Mm-hmm. This was one of them. This one I think you would be forgiven for being a little confused about what this is, because it looks like a city builder game kind of, right? And people say it's about basically the general gist that you're going to pick up immediately from marketing is you're turning like the environment. We're ruining. There's global warming. We're polluting the environment. So you're trying to convert that polluted environment to a lush green thing using green technologies, right? So it sounds like it might be kind of in depth and it might be city buildery. It's actually not that at all. It's a puzzle game, right? It's like a strategy puzzle game, and it's chill and relaxed. Like if you leave your simulation running, a tornado won't blow all your shit away like in a SimCity type game or something. There's none of that.
Right.
Basically, you get a piece of map. Everything's dirty and toxic, and you have points. You have these like environment points that you spend to put tools down that will make everything green, right? And then once you hit a certain milestone, you'll get more points. So the strategy is you can run out of points if you don't like pick the right options to make things green. So you're trying to figure out the optimal use of your buildings, like your windmills and irrigation systems and whatever. And then at certain milestones, the map expands. So it's like you'll have this map, you got to clean it up, and then it'll go, and then it'll make more, map for you to clear. And as you progress, you unlock new tech buildings. There's no tech tree. It's just as you progress and deepen the puzzle, you get more options. And then like in sort of the early stages, you'll just make things like 30% green, but you can turn things into a lush environment. You see there on the video, there's like a fire. So there are catastrophic decisions you can make by blending some of these tools in together, and then you just start again and rebuild. It's not really like a.
It's more like a puzzle. There's no long term.
It's really like a chill, relaxing puzzle game. There are some bad outcomes, of course, and consequences to decision. And overall, it's just got kind of a nice message, right? It's sort of the opposite of Scott ASMR. Scott's like caused untold destruction and pollution in an environment. It's like clean up the environment and make it beautiful and lush planet again. Like it's like the literal reverse of those games.
That's what's so crazy is not only that there's a funny there's a contradiction here, because the developers who made this also made Broforce, which I think is really funny. Because Broforce,
really?
Broforce is all about extreme American hyper-realized destruction.
Yeah,
like it couldn't be further from a thing like this. Idealistically, anyway, right? But it's the same damn team did this game.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, gorgeous. It really is the opposite of Broforce. Like they probably were having lunch, and what if we did the opposite of what we did and thought it was a funny joke, and then actually did it? The good news is like it's fun. It's not going to blow your socks off with excitement. But if you're into we talked about Animal Well being a puzzle game. It's like on the same track, except it's like a top-down. It's a top-down place buildings kind of strategy game, and it's good. I've played not too far in. I think maybe I've gotten. Based on like what's in the book, maybe a third or quarter of the way. There's this beautiful notebook you can refer to. It's like got squared lined paper, and the art is great. And as you unlock things, it fills out the compendium. Big fan of this game.
Cool.
I'm sad I slipped on it. I think it's real. It's on sale right now. There's a Devolver Digital sale going on, and so you can get it for some price off too. How much is it?
15 or something. We're close.
It's 23 Canadian, a close. It's an relatively inexpensive game if you're looking for something chill and not actiony to play. I mean, I would just buy it. It's not what I thought it was going to be. This whole time I thought it looks like Timberborn. I thought it was going to be like a manage the city kind of thing, and I'm like, I have 100 of those, and but no, it's a different. The same isometric view, but it's like a different vibe altogether. You're not managing a city. It's just a puzzle game. Like turn these squares into different color squares. But if you get out to that abstraction, it's really it's just an aesthetic coat of paint.
Also, keep in mind that
mechanics.
This is if you're a Netflix subscriber, this is one of the Netflix games, but you have to play it. You have to play it on mobile, and I haven't tried it there, but I've heard that especially the tablet version is pretty good, like pretty easy to translate to finger gesture stuff. So
yeah, I could see playing this on mobile or on the couch or something. It's like a chill way to engage with it rather than your more formal PC time.
Yeah. I need to go. I mean, I bought it forever ago too, and haven't played it either, so I just need to play it. Good recommendation, Beau. You've convinced me.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. And I think I played Rotwood, and apart from that, I'm just still playing copious amounts of World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Did you try any of that? I guess the thing's out now, right? The weird remix Pandaria thing.
No,
People are raving about it from what I've heard.
Yeah, I thought that was going
really good thing.
That not going yet? I thought it was going.
I think it started today.
Was it today? Yeah, Tanner was telling me it was today. He was like, "Dude, you got to do this." He says, the MOP.
My biggest problem is I'm not super nostalgic for Pandaria, but I mean, it seems like it's cool. But
I'm pretty nostalgic for it. I still think it's in my top 3 expansions. I love it.
It's one of my favorite expansions. Like, absolutely. Like, I think it might be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I just that's the thing is it's like, okay, well, do I want to do an accelerated level thing through it? I don't know. I still haven't finished the current one. I got to get caught up before the new expansion.
Now that's true. Plus coming into MOP, they immediately give you immediately have flying dragonflight, and so I guess if you haven't fleshed that out in the main expansion, Dragonflight expansion, you're probably at little bit of a disadvantage.
Well, I did do that. I'm close.
You did all that? Okay.
I mean, I've hit what would be the equivalent of max level, but like then you unlock a bunch of side story type stuff. I haven't done any of that.
I kind of want to check it out. Everybody's yelling at me today that it's great, so maybe I'll.
Maybe that can be the one you try. We've all tried our various WoW flavors. Maybe you can be the Panda Man.
I could be the Panda Man.
It's a world of FOMO right now.
Yeah,
like, honestly, because they're time consuming. It's a time consuming game, no matter what version you're playing.
Right.
And the prospect of spending any more time in a different version, I'm not just a World of Warcraft player, so
right.
I can't. I even if it looks interesting, I would just choose to stay away from playing more than one version of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. How are you going to play all three? Or is it 3 now? 4? 3.
Like my time would be better spent playing Final Fantasy 14 and mixing. If I'm going to play MMOs, mixing in something else.
You should play Final Fantasy 14.
I know, like why would I play 15 versions of the same game?
My sub is active, so I'm technically playing it.
Are you still playing it, or have you kind of fallen off?
No, I'm still in. I didn't mention it in here, but I got in for, I don't know, hour and a half the other night. It's all a little piecemeal just because of everything else going on, but I get in. I have to admit, I know it's a long ways off compared to where I am in the content, but the new expansion, the more I read about it, the more interested I am to see what the frick they're going to do. I don't even have all the context for where the story ended. In the last expansion.
It ended is where it is.
Yeah, I guess I know that part.
It ended.
I guess I know that much, but I didn't, I don't know the details, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm fascinated by this direction. Because what it seems like is like a weird vacation expansion, but then also obviously there's going to be shit goes down. That's the point, right? It's not just going to be running around and going, "Oh, neat. I got to go find 10 crabs so that guy will give me a better bucket for my sandcastle or some shit."
If there's like a 10-year plan for a next arc, like the next 10 years of Final Fantasy 14, it's going to start here.
Feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is Kyle talks about this a lot, which is, when you do your first couple of sessions in a D&D campaign, this is seeing what your players like. It's telling a story broad enough to where you sprinkle in breadcrumbs and you see where they're going to follow and what they're going to chase, and then you build from there. And they did that very expertly. They did it in a way that seemed like they had a plan all along, despite not having a plan all along with the last run. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this one.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Well, there you go. Those are the games we played this week. And you'd think we might be done. Oh, no, we're not done. We got a Dear Martha after the break. We got some text that you guys sent in. And we have to give away some of these sketch keycaps, although it's really just telling you guys to go to the Discord. But don't worry, that's all coming up. So, everybody, we're going to take a break. When we come back, all that and more. Stay tuned. That's mostly just for my benefit to say that. All right, we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the program. It is time for us to fly directly in the face of a Dear Martha. Hard and fast. We like to go in there. We don't like to mess around.
Yeah, that's it.
And John, you want us to throw you a topic again today, just like a rando thing?
Whatever you want.
How about this? How about there isn't a week that goes by where there isn't some ridiculous, over-the-top gaming controversy of some kind? You don't have to get specific, but just something about that. How it's just like every week there's something new. And you never know what it's going to be, but it's going to be some ridiculous freak out. Today was a good example of that. And I got in some dumb fights today. Dumb fights on social media. I regret them all. But anyway, let's go that way. You want to go that way?
I say we go that way.
All right. Are you going to go my way? All right, here's your thing.
My dearest Martha, I'm incensed. I'm upset. Dare I say I am outraged.
Whoa.
What is it with today in gaming? I bought a video game called Animal Well. And Martha, I play as a testicle. Not an animal. I thought this would be a fun romp through an animal-themed hole. and I'm playing as a male ball rolling around.
A male ball.
When did video games get like this, Martha? That an innocent, puzzling Metroidvania title can't stop for a second without bringing in some politics by making me a roly-poly testicle in it. And Martha, I'm just gonna say it. It's not gonna make me popular. What color is the testicle? Brown. You can draw your own conclusions there on who got their hands on this title.
Yeah.
Martha, I might be done playing video games. If a basic indie game like Animal Well can't let me play as something without telling me a story behind the scenes, then what fun are video games anymore? I guess I will have to go and watch television or read a book. Yours in this life and the next. Round Testicle Man 32.
All right, that was amazing. See, this is you know what this is for us? This is John's improv versions of this. They're basically our version of like a political cartoon. You illustrate the problem and the freak out without, and you do it satirically, right? But you do it without actually punching up or down either direction. We're just saying, yeah, this is happening. You all get it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? This is a nice, subtle, it's our way of doing it without us bitching for 6 hours about Ubisoft shit or whatever.
I can genuinely tell you, this was 100% me looking at the list of what we played and going, can I make any of these about a controversy? If you're reading into this, dear Martha, you are giving it more thought than I did.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Enjoy your interpretations, please.
That's the beauty of
it. Let me let you know.
Yeah.
This is puddle deep at best.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, that was great. Now, other news. Square Enix says it will aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy, and they are also doing layoffs in the U.S. and in Europe. This is interesting because I think it basically just confirms what we've been saying for a couple years now, which is if they keep coming up with this statement of Final Fantasy number did not meet our expectations. Other game we made did not meet our expectations. And every time I'm like, yeah, you put it in one place, you put it on PlayStation and nowhere else, and you waited a year and a half to get it on PC or whatever the case was, depending on the game.
They're also the kings of unrealistic expectations for what feels like they're less mainstream video games, the stuff they do with partners or, studios that they've acquired. You hear about games like, these new Tomb Raider games were absolutely abysmal. And you look at the numbers of it, and it actually performed pretty well by most standards of that sort of game.
Most metrics.
So it makes me wonder where they're putting their expectations on some of these games. But as far as this goes, the big things that they said they were disappointed in was the performance of Final Fantasy 16, a PlayStation exclusive. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and Foam Stars, a game that I'm pretty sure I told you when we saw the reveal trailer for that live on a commentary, looked like the worst video game in the world, and I can't believe somebody's going to try and sell this. That's the kind of game you don't put a lot of expectations behind. Why they thought Foam Stars was going to be their runaway hit, I don't know.
Did that come out? That game come out? Like that was a released game.
Exactly, Scott. Yes, it did.
That's wild to me.
It grossly underperformed.
I'm shocked by this. Shocked, utterly shocked that game didn't explode out of the gate.
It's like, I'm happy they're doing this. Obviously, Square Enix makes games I like. I'm a big fan of the Final Fantasy series. I want to see them do good. I really hope that they aren't so put off by how Rebirth did that they don't finish the trilogy. I think they're too far along now to where it would actually probably be a bad idea to abandon it. But Like this is a concern. I want them to be successful, but I feel like, you know, a lot of times we like to play armchair executive and go, look at these companies effing up.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things are things that, to me at least, seem incredibly apparent and obvious and coming from miles away. All you had to do was look at the YouTube comments, or even the fact that it trended because people thought it looked so bad for foam stars, to know that this is not where you should be buttering your bread.
Yeah. That's a weird one to me. But even when they're like, oh, 16 didn't do what we wanted, or Rebirth is not doing what we want. Well, yeah, you're on one platform. Freaking branch out. Well, that's what they're going to do. And that includes Nintendo, by the way, which they have not been buddy hanging out in the same pool with Nintendo for a very long time.
Yeah.
So a chance for that, but also it means Xbox, it means more PC, hopefully day and date type stuff. I'm all for this. Go for it.
Yeah.
Put them everywhere.
Do it. Sad for layoffs. USA and Europe, not a surprise. That seems to be where you can do it and get away with it. Not as easy to do in Japan. So Japan did not see that.
No.
But you know, they're gonna have to go through some changes too, and it sounds like they need it, because I've never seen a company more disconnected from their own expectations than Square Enix.
Yeah. Well, whatever's after Rebirth. Do we know the name of the third game in the 7 remake?
Something.
Something. Well, Bo,
remake, Rebirth, and
Recycle. There you go. This sounds about
Reduce,
right.
reuse, recycle.
Yeah, the 3 R's of recycling Final Fantasy content.
So when that happens, though, this is. I hope what this means is maybe that's a day and date release on everything. Maybe not Switch, but you know, everything else.
I really hope when 16 comes out on PC. I really hope it does well. I think that game is good. I think that game deserves a lot of attention and play. But we'll have to see. I mean, it should have launched on both. I know so many people that were excited about that game, and the thing that drove them away was, I don't have a PlayStation 5, or I don't want to play it on a PlayStation 5.
Right. And there, of course, there are some factions in PlayStation Town that are very sad about this news. I read one. I read one post that I just cannot get out of my head, but and I won't repeat it here because he's probably trolling for engagement. But there's so many who are like, they take away the one thing that matters to us, and that's exclusive. Screw you, Sony and Square. I'm like, Sony and Square? This is a Square decision. Sony wanted to buy these guys, like own them.
Well, I don't know. I think it did come out that Square was looking to be bought. I think the rumor I heard was that Sony said no.
Oh, was that the deal, or was the price
too high? That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true though. Like, I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but there was a period of time where there was speculation that Square was trying to get. That was why they sold off a lot of the IP that they had.
They sold Eidos and all that.
Look more appealing for a purchase that never came.
Yeah. Well, if Bo was the one with the money, he would turn you down because you shut down any chance of a Deus Ex sequel, and he's not happy still.
Yeah, you didn't do him any favors.
Yeah, but that's up to Embracer, or I think.
Is that who has it now?
With Eidos?
I don't remember who ended up with all that. Who ended up with
Embracer bought
hopefully
Eidos
not
Montreal.
Embracer. That's where content
and they
to die.
Yeah, and they canceled the Deus Ex business. This was the thing.
All right, who owns? Let's see. Because the good news is that the Crystal Dynamics now has full control back of Tomb Raider, so they could do stuff there again. And there was another one that got control back. Who was it? Borderlands people.
Gearbox.
Gearbox is now privately owned again. No longer part
Gearbox bought themselves out and are just self.
Oh, and that was from Embracer. That was when Embracer was dumping stuff. I'm mixing them up. Yeah. I can't remember, but Deus Ex you might be right. It's like a still whatever Embracer's calling themselves.
I think they're still in the Embracer catastrophe that's happening.
Let's see. It says right here that that thing sold that last game, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's 14 million copies. That's a successful video game, Square. I don't care who you are. 1 million would have been good, but 14 million? Come on.
Disappointing. It didn't meet our expectations.
They're insane.
Mankind Divided's pretty good.
It's so good. Both those games are great. The first one had some issues with bosses that I hated.
I want to address this in the chat because it's a silly comment. DMax3000, why doesn't Nintendo get the same level of criticism for exclusives that PlayStation does? Did you miss where I literally advocated piracy on this show because Nintendo is so tight-lipped about its properties and making you rebuy it?
Yeah, that's a whole.
Like,
we almost had a whole episode about that.
That's a pretty extreme take and criticism of a company where I'm like, yeah, you should pirate that crap because Nintendo is keeping things so way too tight. Although maybe don't pirate it because they are also the most litigious company in the world, and you should take care of yourself.
Yeah, if they wanted to come, if they thought they could come after John for just saying that, they would. They can't because he lives in a country with better free speech laws.
Goddamn thing.
That's right.
Stay away from me, Nintendo.
Stay away. I rip all my own ROMs. But anyway, what was I going to say about that? Yeah,
Nintendo already tried to sue me once. I did get a cease and desist from Nintendo when I was like 13 years old, maybe younger.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think it's Sony that gets crap. I give crap to Sony fans who are so weird about losing exclusivity, especially a third-party company like this. Like, okay, it happens all the time. Like this sort of thing happens. Sony still has some real tentpole IPs of their own. They are putting them on PC now. I know people that are mad about that. Like, I don't know how to satisfy these people. They're weird. I mean, I'm sorry, but they're weird.
It's whatever. Like, I remember, I probably wasn't that upset about it, but I remember being annoyed as a Nintendo fan back in the day when Final Fantasy became Sony exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I was too because
I'm like, I have a Super Nintendo. I didn't have a PlayStation, and now I can't play my Final Fantasy VII on my Super NES or Nintendo 64. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's annoying. What I want them to do is put them everywhere. Like, forget about this is the other important thing about this news. This isn't them losing Final Fantasy. This is them gaining other platforms in addition to PlayStation.
It's still going to release on the PlayStation, I assume.
Right. And that should be all that matters to people, is a healthy company putting out games on the regular that you can have access to on your machine of choice. That's it.
I will say Nintendo is something of an outlier because they see great success, whereas, Sony's bemoaning failures of these console exclusives and Nintendo seems to thrive under them. So, but that's because Nintendo's an outlier. That's just the reality of it. Nintendo does what it always does, and it always seems to make money and be successful. And we're probably not going to see them do otherwise until that stops being true. And so far, they have managed to secure their brand in a niche where that has never not been the case. There've been a couple of iffy ones. Mm-hmm. There's been some GameCubes that didn't exactly put them on the board, and Wii U's that very quickly became Switches. Like, there've been some misses, but in general, Nintendo has always been successful at doing their own thing. So that's what they're going to do, and no one's going to fault them for it. No. Where I think the criticism comes in is for companies like Square Enix that keeps going, we don't understand why our games aren't selling. And you go, well, have you put them available to the wide audience of gamers out there?
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is the right move for them. It's the only move. What else are you going to do? You got to expand. If you want to keep, I don't know, forever growth, you can't stay on one platform. And I don't care if this was Microsoft. Don't give a shit. It's the same problem. You're stuck in one place. Don't do that. Put it everywhere that you can put it. All right. They're also, speaking of which, I'm keeping this in the same vein here. They're making a Tomb Raider series on Prime. Yeah, that's right. The studio, or the streaming studio that brought you the recent Fallout mega hit. Well, the next thing they're going to do is Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. And we don't know who she's going to be yet. We don't have casting information. Most people are just like, hire that Lucy girl from Fallout. She's perfect. She's British. She has big eyes. Get her in there.
Yeah. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
You know what? Eating crow was so much fun on the Fallout series. Let me get ready to serve up another helping and go, well, I don't know if that's going to work, but I guess we'll see.
I hope so. I mean, I love Tomb Raider I like those recent games. I think Tomb Raider's got an amazing legacy. I like her as a character. Like, there's no reason that this can't be done, right? This is just a wait and see for me. I have no idea how they'll do. I thought Fallout would be a complete bust, and I was totally wrong. So maybe we'll be wrong here too. I don't know. And also maybe that means more Tomb Raider games coming. I would love that because I think that last one in particular was really strong. I like those games a lot. Let's see. Ubisoft has revealed the next Assassin's Creed game. It's called Shadows. Everyone finally got their want and need, which is, hey, can we have an Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan? Good news. We did it. And that is all I'm going to say about Shadows today. Because F the discussion around Shadows. What a nightmare.
Let's have our own discussion. It looks awesome.
It looks great. I like samurais. I like ninjas. There's a samurai and a ninja. It's a world I love. Like the playground of that open world sounds great. They say it's as big map-wise as Origins, which I felt was like the perfect sized game for Assassin's Creed. It wasn't the best game in the series. I have a soft spot for it, but it felt right in terms of size and scope. I think the most recent one was good, but too small in scope. And I think the previous two, Odyssey, even though I loved Odyssey, and to some degree of Valhalla, they're too big. Those were enormous games that were 300-hour games that were just too freaking big to keep me going in them. But if this is closer to the scope of Origins, and they set it in this place, and they do some cool stuff with the whole lore of the place and everything, I'm all in. Actually, I'm excited about this. So, Assassin's Creed still a threat.
They haven't set one in Asia like that, right? Basically, is it the first for the franchise, except for like maybe a side scroller?
Yeah, they had
they've
this
done
side
some
one.
side story stuff, but they've never. It's been one of the most requested ones, because I mean, obviously, you think assassins, you think ninjas, like they just go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's something they've clamored for, and for whatever reason, the Assassin's Creed series has been very slow to do this setting. I don't know. I don't know what Assassin's Creed is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I've criticized Ubisoft for, they reinvent a genre and then they, this is going to sound awful, but it's what's in my head, milk it to death. Like, I feel like when we did Origins and then Odyssey and then Valhalla, I knew what those three games were, and I was able to kind of pick where my interests lie. I feel like it's now skewed back into something where I'm not quite sure what this game is going to be. So on one hand, I'm sort of intrigued. On another hand, I'm like, I kind of don't know what it is. So I think I'll just wait and see, because Assassin's Creed is so hit and miss for me. It's really high highs and really low lows. And so I kind of just have to wait and see where it lands in terms of what it is and how that's going to fly for me. I did think, like, when I heard that this is what they were doing, I was like, Ghost of Tsushima is coming out real soon on PC.
Yep.
I'm about to play that. I wonder what, this game's going to do to stand out and look different. And it looks different. So, I think that's probably, I'm sure I'm not the only person that has made that comparison, that this is getting announced literally the day before Ghost of Tsushima comes out to another platform, and went, I wonder if I'm going to be ready for another samurai style game. So I think it's good that it's trying to set its own foothold. Right?
Yeah, I agree. It's also
there's been a lot of samurai and ninja games.
There have many. Even this year, there's been a handful, new ones. And I think this is also interesting because it's the first time the game will feature one of the protagonists that you play is one of the historical figures that you interact with. Normally in Assassin's Creed, it's somebody totally unrelated to the historical figure, but you might talk to Alexander or in Odyssey, or you might talk to George Washington in 3. That's always been a hallmark of these things. Da Vinci in the original game, or in the Ezio games. Yeah. But you're never playing as one of those people. In this case, you get to play this Yasuki guy who is an actual historical figure, and that's interesting to me. How much adherence they'll have to make to historical accuracy, I don't know. Like, it's still Assassin's Creed. It's still a video game.
Assassin's Creed has always flirted with history and never taken it out on a real date. Like,
never really committed hard to it.
Yeah, they haven't even lightly kissed history, so it's always just been kind of a flirty relationship.
People pick and choose where they get cranky about things.
Oh, for sure.
I looked at all the combat in the trailer, and it's cool, but it's not realistic. You can't slice a sword and kill 4 people.
No. But for that matter,
we would throw away our guns and start using swords if that was possible.
Yeah, and the same goes the game
way more lethal.
The same goes for Tsushima. Like, you can't do the things you do in Tsushima. You can't, like, one of the cool things about Tsushima, and I don't know how they're going to do it on regular controllers or even a keyboard, but on the touchpad on the PlayStation 4 and 5 controllers, you brush it forward and the wind will tell you where to go. That's your indicator. And it's very cool. Like, it's a neat way to do it. The whole world just gets a gust of wind, and you can say, oh, the wind's blowing through the trees that direction. Little blossoms are flying that way. That's where I have to go. No marker on the map. It's just a cool way of sending you on your way. Well, that's also not realistic.
No, that doesn't.
Where's
the McDonald's?
Oh, right.
Where's the nearest McDonald's wind?
Like, it doesn't work that way in real life, and that's what video games are for. Everybody relax and enjoy it.
Toilet.
Exactly. Anyway, Shadows sounds interesting to me.
But it looks, I don't know. It's a cool trailer, and Assassin's Creed's always, good time, even if it's it's going to be what you expect it's going to be. It's going to have a lot of UI and a lot of the things it has, but they're fun. They're still fun to play.
Yeah, and keep in mind that what was I going to say? I had a thing to say. Oh, I was going to say, the chat room's asking, a couple of people are like, I've never played one of these. Which one should I try? I still think Odyssey is the best one to pick up, even though it's huge.
Yeah, but I really like Odyssey.
Odyssey's amazing.
Odyssey is Greek myth, Greek legends. Like, I love that stuff. So admittedly, it's in my wheelhouse. But the ones I really liked, 2 back in the day, I don't know how well you can go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was a fan of. More modern, I really liked Black Flag. I really liked Odyssey. I liked what I played of Valhalla, but it didn't hold me. I
think you just pick your historical.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah,
because they're so disjointed story-wise. I don't care if they go. Again, I think they should just get rid of that shit. But I do not care what's going on in the current day in any of those games. It's always a groan fest whenever that comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as soon as they're like, let me tell you about the Animus. I'm like, let me tell you about how I wish there was a skip cutscene button.
Yeah, or just remove Animus from game. Yeah, and like it never goes anywhere. Like as soon as they solve it, they don't have a franchise anymore. It's kind of. I wish they'd fix that. But anyways, just pick your era. They're all pretty. They all play pretty similarly for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, to me, they all look cool. Man, you gifted me Mirage, and I haven't played it enough. I actually was really digging Mirage.
Mirage is good. It's also a much more bite-sized game. I feel like also it's a return to the stealthy stuff that made the series popular. And I would assume that as they lean into this new one, we're going to see a lot of that stuff return. There's also a lot of talk about just kind of like Tsushima, a lot of the natural beauty of Japan will play like gameplay roles of weather and wind and
seasonal effects, which could be interesting. Like, if there's snow on the ground, maybe you can't be sneaky because people can track you. I mean, I try not to get too excited about what I build up in my brain, because then all of a sudden you play the game and it's like, oh, none of
never
that's
as good.
there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think I just need to know more about why I should be excited. Like, setting, absolutely on board. Like, playing as a ninja and a samurai, like, yes, absolutely, for the fantasy of that, for what you're playing as. Like, all that is fine, but I need to know the rest, because again, it's a series that's been hit and miss with me.
Yeah.
I wonder how many nods to Yakuza are going to be in the game.
If I can play as Ichiban, I'm 100% in.
There was no hesitation.
I will not hesitate once. I will buy it immediately.
I just want, because they have their period piece version of that game, right?
Yeah, they do.
It would just be cool to see someone who looks vaguely like Kiryu just sort of walk by or put in a cameo or something. Like, because he's as a real historical figure. He was playing a historical figure. They were all playing historical figures in that game. So I don't know if it's the right era, but I don't know. I'd love it if Kiryu just showed up.
Did we get a? We didn't get a release date for this, did we? Or did we? I'm looking real quick.
Yeah, I think we did November.
Oh, it's this year. Oh shit! I'm looking forward to that then.
I think so. Let me double check that. So
I just find these sandboxes always intriguing. I like the historical side of it, even if adherence to history. Like who gives a shit?
November 15th, 2024.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. Let's go. But I don't really care if this thing has magical shit or weird snake creatures, or it's fine. It's a video game. I want to have some fun.
Yeah, it's a video game. It's not save your. Go to school.
Yeah, go to school for your history.
If you want to debate shit, go to university, enroll in history classes, and take it up with the professor.
Yeah.
Whatever you disagree.
I heard somebody said to me,
F off from video games, okay? Thanks,
I heard somebody say earlier today that Assassin's Creed 1 through 4, meaning Black Flag, those were games you could count on strict adherence to history. And I thought back to 3. During 3, at one point I went and visited George Washington, and guess what he gave me? He gave me a magical apple called the Apple of Eden. That's not historically accurate. Some bullshit is what that is.
No. It's also not historically accurate for anyone to have more than like how many how many people do you kill in an average game? Like 500 people? Like
it's a lot.
This is one of those cases where there's a genuine question at the heart of a lot of outrage.
Yeah.
And I think so much of the outrage around, because the genuine question, right, is like, if your culture is the culture that's going to be on display, how do you feel if they pick somebody who's an outsider from your culture to be represented?
Yeah.
Right? Like, the same thing as like Tom Cruise Last Samurai deal. Like, how do you feel about that sort of thing? Like, just to separate it from the current.
Yeah, but in this case, the dude's real. He was an actual historical dude.
Sure, yes. But I mean, like, that question at a base level is a fair question to ask, right? Like, but we're not the ones that answer that. And a lot of the people typing the answers to that question aren't the ones that answer that.
100% they're not. That's right.
Like, that's something that if you're the person that's being, offended, like, you gotta ask yourself that. Like, I think this is just a case of a lot of people being outraged for people. Like,
also outraged for nothing. They're just being uneducated and shitty. Go look it up. Go do some reading. Understand things for yourself. That's all.
There's no outrage when Call of Duty comes out and it's a bunch of Americans shooting up brown people. So, it's like chill the F out.
Yeah, calm down.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to write in and be mad at me for this, but I don't care. You're cherry picking. People are cherry picking so bad right now. I've learned as of today, I don't care about cherry pickers anymore. Pick cherries. Go ahead. Take them when they conveniently serve your side or whatever argument you have. Be happy for your little team, your little cult, whichever side it's on. I don't give two shits anymore. You know what? I don't even give one shit anymore. And sometimes you can't. You say you're going to go take a deuce, but you just drop the one poo, right?
That's a good point. Deuce
I don't
implies
give
two,
one.
so I always think there's 2 nuggets in the deuce.
2 nuggets.
Right? I mean, is it just me?
Wait a minute. In the same,
it's not just a shit. It's a It's a 2-piece.
It's a 2-piece. That's when people say, "Do the."
I don't know. That's always my assumption, but I've never actually said these words out loud before. I've actually wondered it a lot.
I thought we weren't talked about this as that D-Max in the chat. No, it'll come up.
Well, no, but it's one of those things where it's just like, come on, like. So I say, come on, man. These are all works of imagination.
Also, don't buy it if you don't want it. It's as simple as that.
We really pick and choose where we draw the line. I mean, clearly, if it's done respectfully, I think they go through great efforts to depict other cultures. It's fine. But that hasn't stopped the American movie system from doing all kinds of stuff like that for the past 100 years.
Oh, but Bo, that goes counter to the cherry picking. See, how can you cherry pick if you look at the whole picture? If you're only looking at this little bit, then you cherry pick. Look at that cherry. I'm just going to take that one that has a worm in it and then complain about this worm. Anyway, I was going to try so hard.
Why don't we talk about, Charlie Chan or something like that?
I was going to try so hard not to like get into this today, but it's hard.
Well, I still say we're not really into it. We're just flirting on the surface. We're sticking our toe in, and
I mean, I've said all I really have to say. Like, I don't think I'm the right. Am I outraged by this? No, because I don't have a reason to be. I'm not the person that's being offended or doing the offending. I literally have no stake in this. I'm not going to go get offended for other people because I have no idea if it's offensive. If it's offensive, they will tell us. Like, I don't know. We are three white people on this show, and this is dealing with racial issues and historical issues. I didn't get good grades in history class, and I'm white as shit. Well, so I don't really have a big, nice take on this. If you want to hear my thoughts on Ubisoft games, I'll tell you for days on end. I'll talk about my thoughts on Ubisoft games. But when it comes to how is the Japanese culture going to respond to this game, I don't know. I don't live in Japan, and I'm not Japanese.
Yeah, we did this when Tsushima came out too. We complained that white devs made a game about Japanese culture. We just do this every time. Every week it's something new. I'm gonna, you know what? Next week, whatever the big stink about games is next week, I'm gonna try to blissfully be unaware of it. I'm gonna try. I don't think it'll be easy because I pay attention to this stuff every day. So we can talk about it. It matters for coverage. But man, I've had it with these culture wars.
Because I talked to a lot of people just about that. Have you heard about this thing? And people are like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm looking at this because I'm thinking about content.
I was trying to avoid Twitter and comments and all of that a lot more this week, but sure enough, as soon as I had to do notes for the show, I was like, oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is doing the show. Like, it is unavoidable. I know I said to Scott on a couple of dramas where I'm like, just ignore it. But yeah, the truth is it's very hard. If you're going to dive into the gaming news sphere for news, you're going to get exposed to it one way or another. But
yeah, I don't really have a problem with that. I just, this idea that people feel like they have to, it's requiring a bunch of people to amplify it constantly and have 100 YouTube videos up before midnight. That's the part that culture,
just people earning money.
Well, that's what I mean. That grifter part of the business we're in, I hate it so much. Look, it's
tabloid culture, right? Like, you never believe Prince Charles has had kids with aliens. Like, it's the same thing.
It really is the same.
Really is the
We're
same
doing
thing.
the same thing, but in smaller ways, and it's obviously easier for anyone to do it than it's ever been. You can't, that's exactly it.
I would call it, we call it a grift just because it's a hustle, but technically we're not probably getting grifted. It's more that it's in the same way that buying a copy of National Enquirer for, if you know it's fiction and still read it, which I know of people who did that.
Oh yeah.
Then it's like, well, that's just what you're into.
Look at it this way: if newspapers were still a real popular, viable medium where you were making millions of dollars for putting out newspapers, there would be a bazillion newspapers. Right now, that money exists on YouTube, so there's a bazillion YouTube videos every time there's anything to talk about. Like. It is a volume issue, sure, but I'm not gonna fault the people for, like, that's how they put food on the table. Whether I agree with it or not, like, it's not my.
Oh, I'm fine with them making it. I'm fine. Like, it's with the whole freedom conversation, right? Like, make your garbage. It's cool. I just wish the algorithm would work more in my favor. That's all. It's like, I wish I had more levers for my own, like.
Yeah, more sliders.
It's just an opaque wall. Like, let me have some input into this operation, please.
Let me give you a recommendation, because as somebody who fixed his algorithm pretty good,
cat videos.
Start just doing nothing but searching how to cook things on YouTube. I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of stuff these days because I just get cooking humor videos, how to cook this, how to cook that. Like, right now, if I go to my YouTube homepage, usually it is just chock full of, like, the gaming drama of the day. But I've got a lot of wrestling news. I've got comic book reviews. I've got food challenges. I got some Scott doing TMS in there.
Yeah.
Video reactions. Like, I've managed to break the algorithm here, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. You've done a good job. I've learned from your example, and I will try to apply that.
Or watch a lot of comedians.
That helps.
You'll get served up like a sad thing, but when Norm Macdonald passed away, I watched a lot of Norm Macdonald clips because I was sad and I wanted to laugh, and Norm Macdonald was very good at making me laugh. And for a long period of time there, I just got a lot of comedy recommendations, and it was nice. So,
well, I got a fun side story to tell you that was the best interaction of the day that had to do with some hypey video game conversation. And I just found that this guy just replied to me one last time. Here's what it was. Guy writes me. His name is Matt. I think he's a listener. So Matt, hey, how's it going? He says, "Will you be playing Pandemonium?" I thought he meant this horror game coming out on Steam. It's about pandas chasing you through halls and stuff. And I said,
"What?
It's an actual game." So I said, "Only if someone gifts it. That's my horror game rules." And then I went and looked at it and said, "Oh damn, I guess it's free to play." And then his reply was, "Are we talking about the classic clown game Pandemonium or the WoW remix event?" I just realized that this guy is talking about the WoW thing with pandas. That's what he means.
Yeah.
Not scary panda game.
That's what I assumed it was about. But then he mentioned the clown game, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it was also that flying, really shitty Sega game, right?"
Yeah. Oh right, no,
that
was Nights into Dreams
what
or whatever.
Pandemonium is? Yeah, it's that Kefka-looking clown guy, right?
Yeah.
Pandemonium.
Yeah, and he ran around on a grid of is like a kind of a pseudo 3D platformer. It was like a grid
what console was that on?
That would have been.
It was PlayStation. There was a Pandemonium and a Pandemonium 2. You had a jester guy. He wasn't really a clown. He was a jester.
You're totally right. But the one I'm thinking of.
He's creepy, but the lady was pretty.
The one I was thinking of is the one I'm linking to you now, which is an actual game called Pandemonium that just came out in April. So it seemed new. Where you run around and get chased by pandas in rooms. It looks like those backroom games that are so popular right now.
There's one out, Pools, where it's all about what's your fear of pools.
Oh, those look crazy. That aesthetic is really creepy to me.
That one does creep me out a little bit more because I don't like stuff underwater, and I imagine there's stuff underwater.
There probably is things underwater.
Although they say there isn't. But isn't that what they would like you to believe?
They always are going to tell you there's
nothing in the back rooms. It's just a bunch of back rooms. There's nothing in the pools. It's just a bunch of water.
Exactly.
And the next thing you know, there's something there.
But this one definitely looks like that backroom office business, but with pandas chasing you.
Just pandas.
Yeah.
I don't really understand what the deal is with the back rooms. If somebody, here's a good email you can send. Can somebody explain what the back rooms is? Because it feels like it's in everything. And besides the aesthetic of it, I don't know anything about it.
I honestly think that might be almost all of it. It's like everyone's worked at an office where there was maybe part of it that nobody was in ever. It was kind of weird and backroomy and creepy, and the colors were old and wasn't redone or something. I think they're trying to capture that and then do scary stuff within that motif, have it be never ending. Like, I think there's something going on there, but I don't know where it sprang from or why it's so big.
It's an aesthetic which I think is called liminal spaces.
There's even a game called Liminal Spaces, right? That's kind of
liminal space is the uncertain transition between where you've been and where you're going physically, emotionally, or metaphorically. To be in a liminal space means to be on the precipice of something new, but not quite there yet.
My life is a liminal space.
So it's kind of like some of these back rooms. There's like this implied existence, and that you're looking like when you're in some abandoned buildings. If you've ever been in a building where it's like you turned a corner, like it was full of people, and all of a sudden there's nobody, and it's just empty hallways.
Yeah, actually, I went to Disneyland one time, and I got off of Pirates of the Caribbean, and I went into New Orleans Square, and there was nobody there.
Ooh, that's weird.
And
right.
That's super weird because you don't see that. Like,
it's almost always full of people.
It's usually chock full of people, and there was no one. It was empty. There was one guy pushing a cart, and he disappeared around a corner, and he was gone. And that was it. And I was like, I have never seen this before, and I don't think I'll ever see it again. It was very cool.
Very
weird.
The
first few weeks of the pandemic, because I was still going to the office.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the office the whole time. It was so strange to be in so many public spaces and not a soul.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Like there's this kind of weird, very quiet terror that sort of sets in. when everything you're comfortable with and know is all of a sudden uninhabited. You could scream for help and no one would answer in a place where you'd expect that kind of thing, you know?
I was going to say, that's me everywhere. Nobody wants to help me.
No. Well, that's a different kind of terror, I suppose, or fear, but just the idea that there's nobody around, but the evidence of people being around is all around you. Like it's a building or, and you're like, I think those games sort of, they want to push you forward so you find that thing. And then they put like Slender Man in there or something stupid.
You remember in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when they put Zaphod in the thing that's supposed to kill him, where it shows how insignificant he is compared to the rest of the universe.
Yeah,
but he takes it as
thing.
I'm in charge of this whole thing, so it actually gives him an ego.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Beau's description of like, it's like a place that used to have people, but there are no people in it. I'm like, oh, that'd be so nice though.
Yeah.
Oh, it had its advantages. Like no traffic, being able to go wherever you want. Like if you were like immune to the fear of the pandemic and just wanted to go out and about, you had total freedom on the road, no lines for anything. like to a degree that's insane, right?
Yeah.
But there is a terror. Like it's not like an overt terror, like a monster jumping out at you. Just like if you soak it in, it's like all this evidence of existence, but no life. And that's like, if you focus on that part, it's
compelling. Yeah. I think that's
the
probably
Backrooms aesthetic. Yeah. Like that's what they're aiming for.
I think that's exactly right. In some ways, Stanley Parable kind of pulled that out of me too. That feeling of,
yeah, I guess that would be one of those. Huh?
Yeah.
There was a Fortnite map where I was in one of those backroom places, but it had like a Darth Vader with a gun in it.
Oh, well, that'll take you out. Literally.
Yeah, I was just running around shooting Darth Vaders.
Very weird. All right. There's also, let's talk about this. Speaking of horror games, rumor says Capcom is working on a remake of Resident Evil 1, the original game. Increased base pay for workers in Japan as well. So Capcom's...
They haven't done that yet?
No. Well, they did it.
Well, they
sort
did.
Of. Yes.
This would be the second remake.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We finally reached the point of double remake.
Well, this would be a remake. Like the original, what was a GameCube remake or something? It's a long time ago.
It was GameCube.
And it was good, but it was basically just everything looked better but played the same. Like it was the same perspective coming in and out of scenes. Like it wasn't a 3D. It was a 3D world, but it wasn't like these new remakes, like 2 and 3. These new ones are like full on, complete redos.
It sounds like you're making a lot of excuses. Was it a remake or not?
I mean, it was a remake. It was, but is it as good as the remakes they do now? No.
No. Like I'm not saying they don't have a good reason or there isn't a desire for double remake, but this would be, I think, a first. Like we're hitting a new milestone.
I was wondering that. Like, what is the most remakes a video game has ever had, where it's an actual remake? Like, I wonder if this is going to be the first ever double remake. I'm actually excited about it. I do think, and I've said this before, like the Resident Evil 2 remake, 3, and 4. All feel very connected. They all have connective tissue, and it feels like they're their own separate entity within the Resident Evil series. And it is a little weird that story starts with a game that doesn't exist. It starts with 2, basically, if you want to play those games. So it kind of makes sense for them to go back and do 1, especially because I don't care how many I want clickbait articles you write. There's no reason why Resident Evil 5 should be remade. It's not a good game then.
Yeah.
I give a little bit of a soft spot because it's the same thing you hear from people who like Dead Space 3, where it's like, yeah, but I played it with somebody. It was a good co-op game. All right, whatever. It just, Resident Evil 5 sucked. Chris punched a rock.
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid. So I think this is a better direction than remaking 5. I'd rather see that. I mean, honestly, I'd rather see them remake Code Veronica.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to tell your own kind of remake storyline, starting with 2, 3, and then 4 does seem weird. So go ahead and remake 1.
I mean, one is going to, you've alluded to it, but the fact that you've got Barry and Jill and all the ridiculousness will drive a lot of people. It's also the first, blah, blah, blah. People have strong nostalgia for that. I worry that the cheese will be gone. and with no cheese, the first game is less enjoyable, in my opinion. Like, it needs that cheese. I need that berry, Jill. I need all
berry.
that. Yeah. So I don't know how they handle that, but
I don't know. They've pulled it off pretty well. I mean, 3 I still liked, and it was definitely the worst of the, of
those
the
OG games, yeah.
And I think that even that one was still really, really good. I think they could do it. I think the mansion is a great setting. You've got, assuming they keep the enemies, like they have changed some stuff, but you've got zombie snake, a zombie spider, you got a zombie shark.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were zombies, but they did have all those things. The snake, definitely, that's a big ass snake.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they were zombie sharks. They could have just been hungry sharks.
Yeah, I could see that. I was trying to find, so I found a list of all video game remakes. Part of the problem here is the definition for what a remake is all over the map.
Yeah.
But I think those Resident Evil games are, I would not argue against those being remakes. They are 100% remakes.
Yeah, if they bring a team and do a top-down, like not a retexture, it has to be full, like,
yeah,
we're starting from scratch, building this game back up, and re-releasing.
We also got some confirmation, speaking of controversies of every week in video games, one from a couple of weeks ago that you probably already forgot about already, everybody. It's been confirmed that Sony is responsible for blocking Helldiver 2 sales in some countries, and they are also doing the same thing for Ghosts of Tsushima, which came out today, at least here in the States. I don't know about worldwide.
Yeah, so last week when we were kind of, what I was hoping was putting a pin in the Helldivers 2 talk, I floated a thought of maybe Steam was the ones who prevented sales in those countries to avoid having to do refunds. And you all laughed at me, and you laughed at me with good reason, because it wasn't Steam doing it at all. It was Sony doing it. But the reason I thought it would be Steam is because I couldn't think of any viable reason why Sony would want to do this.
Yeah, seems crazy.
And they're doing it, and near as I can tell, they are not backing off of it. The Arrowhead has come out and said that they are continuing to try and fight to get it made available in those areas again. But so far they have not been successful. So
yeah, because your PSN accounts are being made, just not without your consent or knowledge.
Yeah. Well, this sets them up so that in the future they just are in the territories they want with PSN access. It's just shitty. I don't know what advantage.
Seems like a bad idea.
What advantage do they get?
Money on the table. The only thing I can think is that, and I think we all discounted it because big company says it's for this reason, and you go, well, that's horseshit because it's coming out of a company's mouth, so it must not be true. But maybe there is some reason that they feel they can't moderate or deal with harassment coming from these specific territories.
No, I don't think it might not be that. It could be tax reasons.
Well, it's what they claim, though. They claim it's the moderation.
That's what they
thing.
claim the reason.
No, I know they claim that, but I don't know the list of countries, but I assume the countries that they don't want this in don't have favor. There's a reason they're withholding from those countries in terms of.
It's got to be a monetary reason, right? Like for some reason,
always
for it to be available there has to be more expensive than for it to
regulatory. Like they may have to agree. Like games I think can get by being sold on a Steam store in countries maybe because it flies under the radar, but a company as big as Sony is gonna, if they're operating inside a certain area, like maybe they're withholding because of to leverage deals. Like who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But if they're like, because you just look at it and you're like, do you want money? These people in these countries want to give you money, but like, there's a long-standing history as a Quebec resident of not being able to be included in like a billion different draws that everyone in the U.S. and the rest of Canada can, but nobody wants to pay Quebec tax blood money. And they also have weird rules about how contests work. So no, and if you live in Quebec, you can't enter like 80% of giveaways and shit like that.
Is that true?
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's true. And even for the longest time, there would never be a Starbucks. Like I live on the border between Ontario and Quebec.
Yeah.
So I'd spend a lot of time in Quebec and a lot of time in Ontario. And back in the day, like when Starbucks was first coming around, it's like Starbucks they didn't have any in Quebec because Starbucks didn't want to operate in Quebec because the tax regime is crazy there.
Interesting.
Like it's cheaper to live in Quebec, even as a person, but your income tax, they're way more, for in American terminology, they're way more socialist. So you'll pay way more in taxes in Quebec, to the point that companies do not want to operate or sell anything inside the province.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's shit like this with all these other countries too for Sony.
Right. Well, we'll see how it pans out. I don't think well, but we'll see. Frustrated developer changes its game to Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles, a creative building sandbox, unquote, because Steam users keep tagging it as a strategy game. I didn't think you could do this. Users can do this. They can just go in and
users give the tags, not the.
But that seems
that's always been the case. I know because I get
dirty
mad.
cool. I don't like that.
There's meet me at my crankiness looking at Netflix categories, and Spider-Man is science fiction. Old man yells at sky for an hour just in my own brain about how terrible people are at coming up and categorizing things. It's a skill. And not many of you who work in that field have it. I'm just shouting it out here now. And that includes Steam sometimes.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, it's a sandbox game, not an RTS. So he got so frustrated with the miscategorization of his game that he put it in the title.
He put a creative building sandbox as part of this long-ass title. That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny, although to be fair, it does kind of look like an RTS.
I mean, a little bit. So is that what people just looking at it?
If you don't know what's in the box, you don't get to label it. Like that's the problem. It's fine if it looks like one thing, but like if you're trying to market it to a certain audience, especially if it looks like the wrong thing, you kind of want your categories to line up, I guess.
Also, though, I think this might be good for him because this kind of exposure means people will buy his game because they're curious now.
I hadn't heard of it and actually looked at it and wishlisted it based on this article. Yeah. So, good job on that viral bit of marketing.
I'm going to do that too. I'm adding it now. It looks interesting.
It's a steampunk boat and flying sandbox game where you just build cities and fly around and things shoot each other.
I think you might.
And I will say, like Scott just found out today that it's users that put those up there, and I'm sure that means that there are lots and lots and lots of people that don't know that. I think it behooves him that when people go to the game and they see, an RTS game on the categories and they buy it, and then they get mad at him. Why are you listing this as an RTS game? It's not an RTS game. I want a refund.
Yeah.
I think it probably is incredibly frustrating to him.
Well, yeah, the reviews are sitting at mixed.
Yeah,
the reviews are sitting at mixed, and if you read some, they're like, this is kind of chill. Like, there's no... the game's kind of aimless. I thought it'd be one of those games that is a tech art piece, but it seems there's no more to it than that. Well, it's a sandbox.
Well, yeah, but
for
also...
the most part, it's the same as Townscaper. It's like, well, don't negatively.
Well, then don't.
It.
Don't review it like that. Recent reviews are mixed. The overalls are mostly positive. I hope he does well. I actually think this looks kind of rad. I want to see it.
Yeah, and I want to. And this is not me calling you out because I'm pretty sure 95% of listeners are in the same boat and didn't read this. But if you go to the top of the store page and go to the right where you see there's a banner art and then a description of the game and then the reviews, release date, developer, publisher.
Right.
And then you see the tags. And what does it say?
It still says city builder, strategy, exploration, and minimalist is what mine says.
Directly above that, directly above those tags. What does it say?
Oh, it says, let's see. Popular user-defined tags for this product.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's in a grayed out freaking font in the middle of the bottom. No one reads that shit.
It's not just you. It's 95% of the people who visited thousands of store pages in their Steam career do not know what's written there.
Well, yeah, because it's not part of a thing you would normally. I mean, I don't even look at those. So this is not a.
No,
this isn't a. This isn't
I'm not calling anyone.
No. I know that.
Pointing out that it's been there the whole time.
I understand that. What I'm saying though is I don't know how many people use these tags. I search sometimes for a tag because I can't find a name or something.
I do, yeah, all the time. I rely on them for, I want a game in this genre. Let's go.
So that's interesting. You'll click on one of those and then just kind of
I get
around?
mad about them because, like, what's a good example of one? Role playing, like, you're looking for a CRPG.
Yeah.
But if you kind of go like turn based,
Yeah.
but you're thinking like Divinity or Baldur's Gate or games in that genre, you're gonna get Final Fantasy games because some of them are turn based, but that's not the you're just like but I wouldn't call that a JRPG, even if it is turn based. That's not the category I would give that.
I still to this day get highly recommended porn games on Steam because they say it's similar to other games I played, like Resident Evil 7.
How does that work? Hold on a minute. I mean, it's
they're
torture
like,
porn.
he likes big women, so here we go.
I guess so. Or you like grandmas.
Or was it 7 or Village?
No, Village had the Village had the big
Village.
lady. Yeah.
That's the one that got me the porn recommendations. Village is always the one that is like, hey, you'll like these other great porn titles because you played Resident Evil Village.
It's because people fetishized what's her name, Lady Demis Screwwho or whatever her name was.
Oh, yeah,
Demis Screw.
What was it? It's like that, Lady Dem.
I don't know. You're close. You're definitely close, but I don't know. I don't remember.
Demis Screw. I'm making it worse. Chat, that's what it is. How would you say that?
Demiscrew is my favorite Final Fantasy spell.
Demiscrew. And does your guy yell it as he casts it? Demiscrew! Like that?
Demiscrew.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's all the news that we felt fair to share. But now, your texts.
That's a good question.
We got one here from an anonymous listener. This game to us at 801-471-0462, and it says this. Has anyone ever unwrapped a digital game as a gift on their birthday or Christmas? It seems that this is not a common practice. I would agree. Unless you want to wrap a recipe or a code for, a receipt or a recipe.
It does say recipe.
It does. He meant receipt. I should have read it that way. Anyway, want to wrap a receipt with a code as a gift? It is difficult to give digital games on the day of. It's unclear why the gaming industry has not addressed this issue. I wanted to ask for Baldur's Gate for my birthday, but it seems impossible to do this on the PlayStation 5. Giving a card and printing a code is not always an option and may not work in all circumstances. If consoles died, it seems like giving up on a birthday and Christmas gifts will result in the gaming industry losing out on a significant amount of money. They need to make it easier to give digital games for an in-person day or of present. I'm not sure what that means. This is why I always seem to be falling back on the physical console versions for my own nephew, says Anonymous. Here's the thing, though. There are all of the consoles, platforms, Steam, they all have ways of gifting games and gifting gift certificates of money to people. What they're not good at is the physical part, meaning it doesn't come with a little printed note and a nice envelope that you can hand to somebody and say, here's your Steam game you wanted. Instead, you have to kind of do that work. You either print it or you email it, and those are all very impersonal and lame. So I understand what he's saying. But I've gotten plenty of gifts that were digital, and I love them.
And
it's fine.
Steam will even let you write a little message. I think what they need to do is seen as now it's like illegal in a bunch of countries to do loot boxes. Take all our loot box technology.
There you go.
For animations and use those animations as like when you want to gift somebody. So when you pick gift, and then it shows up instead of it going, you've been gifted a copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like you go, you've received a gifted game, and then you get it, and there's a little Overwatch loot box sitting there because they had to, they got those sitting around. Yeah. And it's just shaking, and you click it, and it goes, oh.
Yeah.
And then it shoots out, and then the game bounces onto your screen, and it's like, oh, Assassin's Creed Odyssey with a message. You'll never play another game. It's so long. And you're like, oh, that's great. It's from my friend G-Snacks57.
G-Snacks57. I want to meet that guy.
I think that's what we need. We just need to add that. And then I think problem solved. Gifting will be fun again. Yeah. And we'll get our loot box animation somewhere.
And also, Bo, your point just got proven to me about clicking on tags. I found a factory game called Tower Factory that is coming out this fall, and it looks awesome. I wouldn't have found this if I had been clicking around on those. Oh, it's got tower defense? F this shit. Never mind. F that game.
Yep. Get out. So here, what you should do is look at the image I link. So I checked the sexual content tag. And I said, show me the top-rated sexual contact tag games,
Yeah.
and you'll see their Resident Evil Village is in 4th place.
Oh,
Yep.
what?
It's all like the adult games.
Look at
Clearly,
this
it's
chat.
movie time, and then there's just Resident Evil Village, and I'm like, does it really have sexual content?
No,
I mean,
not really.
kind
No,
of,
it
but I wouldn't.
doesn't really.
I
I'm
played through it.
If I'm looking for booba, okay,
Yeah.
to use the streamer terminology for breasts, if I'm looking for booba, I don't want Resident Evil Village.
No, you go to
misleading. Misleading.
Fresh Women Season 1. That's where you
Yeah, I want to play Fresh Women Season 1.
I don't get it though. Like, is this someone trolled this, right? There's no way that should be on there.
I mean, it's the mob. It's just a mob of people. Somebody tags it, everybody goes, okay. And
Okay.
That's funny, yeah.
But
big,
the closest-
big lady, I'm gonna call it sexual content.
The closest
Like,
they get in there, though, to that being sexual content, because I played through the game. John was there; he witnessed it, and he played it himself. That game has
is when a man starts screaming shit on me while fighting a giant wolf.
unless my activity has directly contributed to this rating, there's nothing else. There's a giant weird baby in the basement. That's proof of somebody having a baby. That's sexual, I suppose. And then there's a lady with the big hat that some people are turned on by, and that's it. What else is there? There might be a key shaped like a penis. I don't know. That game, dude. That's not a sexual content game. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. All right, here's another one from an anonymous listener. And this is for you mostly, Bo. It says, regarding sunflower seeds being sunflower jizz, as Bo had pointed out a couple of weeks ago, I'm pretty sure the pollen would be the sperm equivalent and the seed would be closer to a fetus. This is not the only one of these we got. We got probably 50 of these.
No, I was shouting out the pervy faction in our audience, the ones that can't help but respond. Most people went gross, whatever, moved on with their lives. Sometimes they can't all be hits, guys.
Some of these people,
they gave me the benefit of the doubt, and then there's the portion of the audience that was like, let's really analyze what's going on here.
Yeah, there are a few people who are like in the know, like they're scientists in the field of plants.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, if we have human sexologists, we probably have plant reproductive specialists.
Absolutely.
As well. So, okay, cool.
Yeah, those people were very nice. They were just pointing it out that it's not really jizz. It doesn't work that way. But yes.
What Boism did you get more pushback on? This or when you said Coke was urea?
You know what? I think the Coke was urea. I think that got more pushback because people really like their Coke.
Yeah, they're like, stop calling it piss.
Yeah, and they took that personally. Yeah, stop calling my Coke piss.
Yeah, the urea thing was pretty high crescendo. I think that was probably in the hundreds of emails on that one, something like that.
Okay.
So,
this was an underbaked bit. I definitely didn't thoroughly do my research in order to ensure maximum hilarity.
mm-hmm.
I was just trying to make people a little less homophobic. So the idea that everyone, eats jizz and don't be so grossed out was kind of where I was working, but it was half baked. I let it out too early.
I understand.
And I even felt like I kind of ham-handed it into a situation that was tangentially related. But
you wanted to
were a little
workshop
premature with your opinion.
Yeah, premature.
Exactly. And it's still not far from the truth. It's still reproductive, stuff.
It is, right? For sure. It's in the vein. It's in the field.
We just don't think of it that way because we are plant. What's the word for when you're racist against plants?
You're plantist. Plantist.
We're all plantists.
Yeah, we don't like plants.
Except the vegans, I suppose. Well, even the vegans don't mind the mass slaughter and eating of vegetables.
No, if they knew all the things they were killing just by walking around their house, they would.
They're living things, right? I mean, at the end of the day, plants are life, and we consume them to keep ourselves going.
So are the thousands of microbes I kill right now. Those are dead now in my hand. Just so you know.
Yeah.
I can never be a vegan because this. Oh, I got more. Now more are dead. Oh, again.
Yeah, that's true.
Dump a bunch of dust on Scott.
Here's the other thing. Oh, I'm going to get emails from the vegans now. I was going to say, you could say that Coke has jizz in it, and then we could really rile up both camps, get them both freaking out.
Well, if there's, I guess, a seed or a plant or pollen of some kind that goes in there.
Let me take a whiff.
If you got to go somewhere, you got to go somewhere.
Yeah, this can of Coke actually kind of stinks.
Does it stink like
mind,
jizz?
Yeah, like, I was gonna say, we know Scott has sometimes peed at his desk while recording core.
One time.
Did you crank one out during recording?
No, I didn't. You know what it is? It's cherry, and I forgot. And
he's like, I know what this is. This is my jizz can.
There's a weird... There's a very odd cherry.
And you sit in judgment of Asmongold.
Boy, I really shouldn't have drank the jizz can today.
Yeah, never bring the jizz can to a
bad decision.
Knife party or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Quick thing here. Thank you for those texts, by the way, everybody. 801-471-0462. You can also leave voicemails there. And if you'd rather email, you can do that too. They just talk to the core at gmail.com. We're going to give away, or at least start this giveaway in earnest on the show, for these keycaps. Now, they're very cool. They're sketch keycaps. Bo's got his handy so you can actually hold them up. Mine are on my keyboard and I can't do it. But if you can't see these, they're just this really, it almost makes your keyboard look like a cell-shaded game thing. It's really cool. And the lights come up through them. They were very nice to send us some demo sets, and we're enjoying the hell out of those. There they are again. Look at that. Where's your space bar? My space bar is somewhere.
Hey, where's your space bar?
Hey, baby, show me your space bar. Well, anyway, starting on the 7th and continuing on the first Tuesday of every month, a fresh batch of these limited edition keycaps will drop at the website, gloriousgaming.com. They're going to only have 1,000 individually numbered sets available for release. So once they are gone, they are gone. That means the 10 that we have to give away and the 5 we're giving away this week, 5 the next week, are limited. You're not gonna...
Yeah, I think they're already sold out on the store. I went to the Glorious website, and I think these are sold out.
They went fast, so you're going to want to pay attention every month on that date. First Tuesday of every month, and they're going to refresh that number. What are you holding up? Oh, spacebar. I thought you were saying, I have COVID. It looked like a COVID test.
No, so that's what this... It looks like a chocolate bar. But if you want to see, like, look at the shift button here.
Yeah, where's...
Hang on, I'm getting it. It's just... It's hard to...
And look, the big thing is you're going to want to act fast. These sorts of giveaways don't come around all the time, and I especially wouldn't anticipate another one because I'm sure they're thrilled that their contest followed the jizzing in a can discussion.
Right, exactly. So here's a good example of the shift button if I hold it up.
Yeah, we both got our
shifts.
both
got our shifts.
Hey, it's a deuce.
It's a deuce. And you get this little tool to take your existing keys off and replace them with these. So if you're worried about how to do that, this thing's super easy. Just click, take it out, put it in.
And they have nice colors for your arrow keys and your WASDs.
Yep. It's really good. That's what I did.
They're really awesome. I just can't figure out how to get them on my keyboard. I need some tech support for that. But.
Some keyboards are weird, and so we may, they'll have.
They have these
facts
little
and all
plus
that.
things on the bottom, right? So. Am I looking for a plus?
If you pop your existing key, pop one of your keys off, it should have a corresponding male part to your female hole.
I'll show you what I have. Mine's female.
Is it Canadian? Is it a Canadian
So it looks like this.
Let's see. Oh, it is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because I have backlit keys. Like
I
very
do.
thin
I have
caps.
backlit. I don't know why that would be.
So just pop out a key or two, and before you enter, make sure you could use it. But I might just get another keyboard and look for.
Yeah, you might be weird on the keyboard.
They're cool enough that I want to get them used. So it's been a while since I got a new keyboard. Maybe.
Well, here's all you have to do if you're in the chat right now, either Twitch or Discord. I'm putting in a direct link to the contest. If you're not part of our Discord, there's nothing special to do to get in. You just get in. If you'd rather go navigate to the contest group by yourself, go to frogpants.com/discord, and you'll get in, see contests, and sign up. It's already up there and going. A bunch of people have already signed in. In fact, I can tell you, we've already got, hold on to your shit, contests. Here we go. Or giveaways. Sorry, I keep saying contests. It's giveaways is the name of the channel. We already have 121 entries. That's before I announced it. So, 5 winners coming out of that, and it will choose them randomly. I won't even be the one choosing it. It will just do it, and you could win these.
These are pretty cool. It's a nice little package too.
I
really
agree.
Like them.
It's very cool. So thank you again to gloriousgaming.com and to Jules over there, old friend of ours who's working with those guys. We are very happy to give these away. All right, that's it for that. We should probably tell a couple of patrons that we love them, and we can do that by saying, "Hey, Splendify, Travis and Tom Norman, You are regular patrons of the patreon.com/core show link. And if it wasn't for you, gosh damn it, would there even be a show? Would we even be here?
Splendife.
Splendife? What did I say?
Splendolife.
Splendolife. It sounds like a multi-level marketing company, doesn't it? Here at Splendolife, we extend...
I guess the reason why I'm just clarifying, because I've definitely seen him in our chats around.
Splendolife is here to sweeten your life
That's
by
right.
enhancing it through nutritious products
That's
such
right.
as fake sugar.
Yeah, it's all safe and tested.
100% urea-free.
That's right. Splendife, you are urea-free, and we're happy to have you here. If you want to be like these guys, it's so easy. Patreon.com/core show is where you signed up. Get in there and do it. No commercials ever. Pre-show content every week. And monthly benefits like video game art from me in the mail, host specials, and more. Learn all about it at patreon.com/core show. All right. It's time for us to leave. Oh, somebody told us that... John, can you flip your voice thing real quick to just see if this sounds like Randy Jordan? And I'm going to play you a Randy clip, and then you're going to try to duplicate it, okay?
All right. I think this is the one, right?
All right.
This is it?
This is it. So I'm going to hit this,
All
and then you
right.
try to match the
Hi.
cadence. Here you go.
I've moved Catwoman.
Try it.
I've moved Catwoman.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
I've moved Catwoman.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right.
Close.
Anyway, I got to let it...
Let me see. Oh, no. It's not this one.
No.
Whoop.
It's
This
not.
is
Everyone loves this
Absolutely.
voice change.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely the wrong sound.
Yeah, we
Oh,
hate...
Splood. This is the Splood voice.
Yeah, we don't like that one.
Remember, he was the hero we came up with for Heroes of the Storm?
Whoops.
It sound.
It was a fart, but I didn't mean to play it. Here, I'll play it now. It's a good one. All right? That's a good one.
That's not a fart. That's a journey.
I've moved Catwoman.
I've moved Catwoman.
Oh, my gosh, dude. That's really weird. Holy shit. All right. Well, Grandma or Randy, I don't care who, you're going to tell everybody what games we played in case they all forgot in the rigmarole of the show. So please take it away.
And everybody gets upset when it isn't me, so I'm back to tell you what the games they played this week were. Scott played Instruments of Destruction. That's the one that's like the Blast Core. He played Geno Panic, which is out tomorrow, so don't try to buy it today. He played Animal Wells, so did John. And he also played Fallout 4, Diablo 4, Rotwood, Farm Together 2, and Cyberpunk, just to prove that he can play games. He's a big man. John played Vampire Survivors, Diablo 4, say it again. Animal Wells, say that again. Why not? Bo played Rotwood, just keep saying the same damn things over and over again. We got a shared play this week. It's damn empty, but just saying the same games. And he also played Mullet Madjack. That's the run and kill people in under 10 seconds game. And Terra Nil. That's the games the Democrats want you to play.
I didn't see that coming.
Democrat.
Oh, shit. That's one of the funniest things you've ever said. All right. That is it for that, I guess. I don't know where else to go with that. So we're just going to leave. Thank you all for being here. Come back next week for another episode of Core. We can't wait to see you then. Go play some games and stay out of the drama. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Jill!
Barry.
Get off my bed!
Get off my bed.